Welcome back to another brand new episode of Busted Musket Productions Animazing, the only show... Wait, fuck, I forgot. I flubbed my opening. Shit. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Animazing, where the only thing thicker than Rika's thighs is our in-depth anime analysis.
Oh, okay. I didn't know where that was going for a second. I was like, oh wait, is he going off tangents?
Nope. Well, no. I'm just like, we go into so much nice, juicy detail that it's almost just as thick and juicy as Rika's thighs.
That's true.
In this show, if you guys remember from our
Just totally overrated.
right, that's all I could think about while I'm watching the show. I'm like, guys, you do realize that Kane is in here too.
Yeah, I know.
They purposely only had like 2 major female characters because they didn't want the war to get too out of hand.
I know. Hey, I don't know. That girl with the mask was pretty interesting as well.
What was it? Her and one of Akane's friends who had like dye hair?
Yeah.
I'm like, how come she's not more in this show? But yeah, that's the thing with Sugar. I'm pretty sure it was done by the same guy too. He designs his girls like super cute. That there are, when depending for the tone the show wants to go for, they will not let him draw the girls because they don't want him making them too cute.
Yeah.
Too much distracting. Like I think it was Ninja Slayer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He flat out said they would not let me design the women in this show because they didn't want the women to take away from the other characters. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, like that one female ninja. What was her name?
I forgot. I couldn't watch that show past the first episode, man. I'm not too big into unless you're Aqua Team Hunger Force. I'm not too big into that Aqua Team Hunger Force art style.
Oh, okay.
The only one that can get away with that is Aqua Team Hunger Force. But like, yeah, I'm not big into Inferno Cop, which a lot of people are probably gonna kill me for that.
Dude, Inferno Cop's so funny though.
I know. Someone was telling me because I saw that first episode where it's like him killing a bunch of dudes and then a woman like splashes him in the face with juice. No. And then people are telling me, yeah, near the end it becomes all like insane. It's basically the ending of Evangelion. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing here?
Speaking of Evangelion, that fucking name for the Neon Genesis Academy.
Yeah, Neon Genesis Academy for like the foreign exchange students. Were they supposed to be kids? Because 2 of them fucking look like adult men.
I didn't know that Lolly was a trap.
Was it?
It was.
It was a boy?
Yes!
What?
I'm researching that's a boy! I thought...
Did they mention that at all? I don't think they did.
And they don't do it, but I had to do some research because I was like, hey, you know what? I'll watch a YouTube video on this. And then like a lot of people refer to that one as a he. I was like, what?
The show actually did a pretty good job at not giving them a binary name. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they were probably like, yeah, it's a non-binary. And if anyone waifus up that lolly, you'll have a very unfortunate surprise waiting for you.
Or fortunate if you're like Ben.
Yeah, that's true. The dip only makes it better. It is okay to always unpeel the banana every now and then.
That sounds painful.
I know, right?
That sounds painful.
I'm pretty sure that's just another way of saying circumcise. Snip, snip.
Okay, yeah, because like, that just like sounds like torture right there.
Right.
But anyways, what were we talking about?
I know, we were talking about anime, weren't we?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically we were still on subject, it just wasn't the right subject. Anyway, today we are talking about SSS Gridman. If you go too little S's, it'll turn into a Nazi show. If you use too many, then it sounds like you're having a stroke.
Oh, that's right, it is. The SS.
Yeah, SS Gridman.
SS Gridman.
Actually, I wonder if that's a meme where it's just like Gridman, but it's like a poster. Yeah, it's like a 1940s poster where it's like Gridman with a bunch of like Nazi German planes flying over it, and then you see him wearing the SS uniform.
Dude, you know, I could see that as a Wolfenstein type of like war propaganda.
Right?
Join the SS Gridman today.
Well, I mean, they already propaganda the fuck out of everything else in there. Like there's German share. There's German share at one point, and then there's German Beatles in that game.
Oh yeah.
Also, interesting thing. I don't know if you read a lot of the newspaper articles in that game, but did they explain what happened to the Japanese, or if the Japanese were involved in that world at all?
They were, but after they nuked America and everything, it's kind of like, they're too afraid to do anything else. So Japan didn't really become like the Imperial Navy that it was in this timeline.
They're like, yeah, I guess probably the Nazis just told them to fuck off, and they're like, well, we can't go up against them by this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking about, I'm like, I keep forgetting that Japan was an ally to the Germans, and I'm thinking like, well, I wonder if Wolfenstein did that, and it's just like, yeah, they did, but they didn't do anything. There's not like a part of the world you go into where it's just Japan owned and they're gunning down a bunch of Japanese people. God damn it, I want that co-op player game to come out already. They haven't announced the date yet. We just know it's this year?
Oh wow, well that's gonna be a surprise.
Yeah, you've heard of that though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you get to play as his daughters in the 80s. First of all, can we just call it with the 80s for a bit right now? Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's like that. Anyway, oh my god, we went from announcing the anime to talking about Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Bad, Danny. Bad. Because that was me. That was me. So, SSS... thank you. Gridman, which is a 17, is a 2018 anime that recently just ended like three weeks ago, I think.
It ended 3 hours for me. 3 hours ago.
It ended 3 hours ago for you. Wait, did you just finish it? Because it's 1 o'clock.
Yeah. I had to wake up early again to finish the last 4 episodes.
I really... Next time I'm choosing something I know you can watch, and something that won't be too ridiculously big.
Well, SSS Gridman, god damn, this is gonna trip me up the whole episode. Right. But SSS Gridman wasn't really that much of long of a watch. It actually kept me engaged the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just, I just don't have good habits because I'm pretty much spend most of my evenings full.
No, that's true.
I spend most of my afternoons gaming, then I go to the gym, I come back and then do grinding again for double XP. And then I was like, oh shit, it's 12 o'clock, I better get started on the show.
Yeah, that's me too. That was me with Cells at Work. It's like, I did pretty good getting to the show for when we were originally supposed to do it. And then I'm like, good, we're gonna do the show again. I have a week to do it and only 5 episodes to go. And then I'm literally watching it the day of, and I wasn't able to finish the show before I wasn't able to finish it before the show started. I'm like, oh fuck. God, well, real quick before we really dive into it, because I know we're kind of on like a time thing right now, and I want to give you like enough time to get ready and stuff.
I'm already ready.
Oh, okay.
I took a shower. I just have to put my dress shirt on, and that's it.
Yeah, you have to look all nice and respectable. I actually signed up for that DC Universe streaming service.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so I've been watching that Titans show that, people are memeing the fuck out of. They're like, oh god, this looks like everything we don't like about freaking DC. Yeah, no, that show's actually kind of good. It has some serious fucking problems. Like, the first episode, like, it was almost like, for the first couple of episodes, it was like every other episode was bad. So it was like, first episode, second episode was good, third episode was bad, and so on. But then by like episode 7, it just becomes consistently good, and I'm like, okay, my only main issue is that this show is shot dark as fuck, so you can't see a lot. It just looks like a bunch of silhouettes. But yeah, it's I thought it was really good, and again, I bought that streaming app because Young Justice Season 3, which, warning to anyone who watches a cartoon that got picked up by like a streaming app that has no restrictions to ratings, be careful, because sometimes the cartoon will have fun with that aspect. Young Justice went from a Cartoon Network like teenage-driven show to flat out, yeah, now we're gonna show people's faces getting melted off now.
Oh damn! I like that.
Yeah, yay! But yeah, that was kind of my week. So, but I had been keeping up with Gridman as it went on, so I didn't really need to worry about having to rewatch it or finish it in time.
Well, hey, if anything, Danny, from like what I can tell you, Gridman is a bingeable series. Could you just get lost in it? So it doesn't really feel like you're watching 12 episodes. It just feels like you haven't slept for like 4 to 6 hours straight.
Right. well, I know with me, like I started the show kind of late. I think it was already like 6 episodes in. So like I'm watching those 6 episodes, and next thing I know, I'm done, and I'm like, wait, where the fuck did my Sunday go? I just watched these episodes straight, and then now I have to wait every week for the goddamn updates. Crunchyroll, first you break away from your husbando Funimation, and now you do this.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're having quarrels right now.
I know. They're like, we should branch out to other countries. I don't want to. I want to stay in America. Fine then, we're going to fucking go with Sony, and Sony will put us on Hulu.
Oh god, not Sony though.
Not Sony. But Sony did give us Spider-Verse, so they have like one goodwill with me right now. I'm like, after Venom, there's nothing you can do to make me love you again. Oh yeah, Spider-Verse is good. Anyway... should we cue up the opening?
Yes, I'll bring it out right now.
And then I'm gonna cue up the other opening, even though we're not gonna listen to the whole thing.
Wait, which one am I getting?
You're gonna get the actual anime opening.
Okay.
Oh my god, why is it that as soon as I typed in Super, I get Super Sonico Episode 1?
Yeah. Your genius is showing.
Super... Right, so it's Super Human.
I found the best opening for it.
Oh no.
Alright, ready?
What are you getting? Oh no, not MS Paint.
No, this is Funimation, by the way, mind you.
Why? What?
I just saw this right now.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, there's been a meme flying around where people will do the openings to anime, but it will be done in MS Paint. So we're looking at, what the fuck is the Death Note doing there?
That's the tree!
Oh god. Funimation, what the fuck? Oh my god. And they're just shaking the frame to the wind blowing effect. Funimation Doom on you. Is that the actual account? Are you sure it's not like Funimation or something?
No, it's Funimation.
With the 200. Okay. Oh my god, what the fuck? it's an Ava one. What the fuck? Oh god.
Nut? Did you just say nut in his wrist?
Yeah. Almost.
At 700K?
The fuck was that? Okay, Funimation. I'll give it to you. I thought you just clicked on a random video, but you're like, no, that was
That's Funimation.
That was actual Funimation. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, before I got horrifically sidetracked about a couple of minutes into the episode...
This is going to the likes list.
Yeah. It's a... and I will link that opening once I get this episode posted. But it is a 2018 anime based on the old Toketsu series, Gridman, which is also taking some inspiration from the American adapted version of Gridman, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, which...
That's cyber with an S.
Yes, cyber with an S. Hence why the show is SSSS Gridman. So it's basically playing tribute, and as the show goes on, and if you've seen Superhuman Samurai, you will see, oh yeah, they're taking inspiration from that, they're doing this, they're doing that. There's even a part where a character is like, they're looking at something and they're like, oh, what does this mean? Oh, it means superhuman something. Like, I forget what part that is, but a friend's brother told me they like flat out dropped the name, but then like, don't finish it. But
damn, I don't remember.
Me neither.
that confused the hell out of me. I was like, is this supposed to be referencing something?
Yeah, I'm just like, it probably definitely is like referencing something, but it's just like, It's interesting how typically the Japanese will be like, yeah, the Americans will butcher this here and there. But I found it really interesting that Trigger is just like, yo, this is a thing, let's incorporate it into our version of Gridman. And I think that does have something to do with the fact that when you go to a Trigger panel, those guys are super fucking American. One guy's like, almost all of them speak English. Like, they'll always have like 4 to 5 people on the panel. Sometimes 3 or 4 out of the 5 people they have will be speaking English. So you have like one of those old dudes that you can tell who worked for Gynex and moved to Trigger are the only ones speaking Japanese. But then when you hear him talk, you realize you're equally just as immature as the people working with you.
I know, because I remember you told me that one of the panels is actually a big fan of Marvel and everything, so he has a lot of I think you were the one who told me about that.
Oh yeah, it was the character designer we were talking about before we started the show. The one that I told you wasn't allowed to draw the females in Ninja Slayer. But yeah, he was like a kind of a younger dude, and he's like, every time I come here, I just buy like X-Men toys. So when you come to my office in Japan, you just see nothing but X-Men toys like around my office. so it's like, yeah, I come here specifically for your toys when I have to come to one of these conventions.
Now he knows what we have to deal with.
Right? You guys make fun of us and complain about... Well, then again, is their currency worth more here, or is our currency worth more over there?
Our currency is worth more over there.
Oh, then he also has to put up with really expensive toys, even though to us it's like, $8 for like a Ninja Turtle? Cool, I'll pay for it.
Yeah. Because like what the exchange rate right now is like $1 to like 120 yen or so.
Yeah.
Around there.
Damn. Like I know. Okay. So like, you know how I recently got into like Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
So they that toy company Kyoto released these like a few years ago. So, and I found out this comic book store by my house has this one, and this one, and I'm just like, when I get paid, I'm going to buy these. How much are these? $60. God damn you, Japan! they're like highly articulated, and they have like the clicky limbs, so they stick in place. Like the guy was telling me why it's called Revel Tech, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's actually pretty awesome. But yeah, I'm just like $60. So like, I mean, given they're beautifully detailed, but you know, they're like this big. They're kind of small, and I'm paying $60, and I'm like,
welcome to the world of Nender, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like $60 isn't as bad as the $78 I paid for my Segumi.
Oh yeah.
Or the $40 I paid for my little Madoka and Shinobu.
Oh yeah, that's right. You got the Shinobu.
Yeah, the Shinobu with Madoka, and they like swap clothes.
Mm-hmm.
God, I was so mad that Aniplex didn't have the other ones over there that year. They're like, yeah, they were only there that year. Can I get them online? No. Okay. But anyway, yeah. So I'm not surprised to find out that these guys are like, yeah, let's incorporate this American version with our show and create something completely new and different. Of course, there's some aspects going on in here. Overall, like, I think with them incorporating their show and incorporating our bastardization of it, even though if I hadn't forgotten, we probably could have had my other friend Daniel here, who was actually a very big fan of Superhuman Samurai. He just hasn't seen Gridman, so I didn't want him here while we were spoiling the show.
Oh yeah.
But
and there you go again, Danny, talking in the first person.
I'm sorry, but sometimes I'm not happy with just 3 friends. Also, I met a beautiful girl named Daniela.
Oh my god.
No, Daniel is a real person. Louis just made a joke out of it, and it's stuck.
He's real in all of our hearts, Daniel.
One day he'll be like those Christmas episodes where it's like, hey, who put that teddy bear there? And he just see like a hat, and it's like, Santa's real. And then it's just like, hey, who left that Gridman DVD here? And you see like a fedora, and it's like, oh my god, Daniel is real. Because fun fact about Daniel always wears a fucking fedora, and I'm just like,
I didn't know you liked hats.
I don't like hats. I like beanies. This is like the closest you'll get to me with it. With, you know, my Kingdom Hearts beanie.
Okay, that kind of confused me for a second because I just saw Heart Kingdom first.
Heart Kingdom.
I was like,
Yeah.
what?
That is the bootleg game, Heart Kingdom. Why isn't that a bootleg Kingdom Hearts game? I want one now, Heart Kingdom.
Making one of those Ntaku games?
Ntaku? No.
I can't believe you're almost on board with the idea.
No, I don't want that. Unless it's a direct Kingdom Hearts game, so I can see some of my Kingdom Hearts waifus get it. I mean, what? You have to remember the 15. Oh god, I'm going to jail. Anyway, let's just jump in straight into the synopsis of the show. Jesus Christ. So anyway, episode 1. What was the main kid's name?
Hibiki? Hibiki.
Oh, Hibiki? Yeah, so this kid named Hibiki wakes up in a girl's apartment with like no memory. Absolutely none. And he notices the girl in there and asks him who he is, who she is, and he says he can't remember anything that happened like up until now. And she says, "Are you kidding me?" That's kind of a really messed up joke. But anyway, yeah, you're Hibiki. I found you. Did she find him or he was with her?
He was with her, and she says that he just like all of a sudden collapsed and fell asleep.
Oh.
And then that's when she says like, yeah, and then like that's why brother's like, oh, he was like kind of panicked, so he just brought you home.
Right, and so they go out, they talk a little bit, and when she realizes, like, she asks him, like, so where do you live? He's like, I don't know. And it's like, okay, give me your phone. Maybe one of your best friends will know where you live. So she drops him off at his place, and he, like, notices, okay, so my name is Hibiki this. My parents have been gone for, like, 3 months.
In a business trip.
Yeah, on a business trip, and they're not going to be back for a while. I go to school here, and I guess this is the kind of person I am. But overall, he even says, like, it just doesn't feel right, and none of this feels familiar to him.
Oh, yeah.
So he goes in the morning, and you see his friend who is, like, a super fucking Toketsu weeb. You know what that is, right? Toketsu? Yeah. Oh, okay. Because I was telling my friend who is also studying Japanese, and she's like, I never heard of that. I'm like, really? Really? She's like, yep. I'm like, well, it's a genre of giant monsters fighting, but it's like suit performers.
I think you were the one who was like, you were the one who like explained that to me a while ago.
I think I explained what Toketsu was, yeah. But, you know, I'm not really the giant monster expert. That was, Michael, yeah.
Well, it was.
Was, in my opinion, because he got me mad after a few opinions about the recent Japanese attempts at Godzilla. Not attempts, the actual Japanese movies that came out, including my all-time favorite Godzilla movie, Shin Godzilla, and the Godzilla anime, which I still haven't seen the third movie yet.
I haven't even seen them yet.
Yeah, I know me and Ben did an episode because it was one of those you wouldn't be able to make an episode, so we're like, well, let's pick something that Lewis won't really miss if we do it without him. So we did like the first 2 movies. But yeah, we did the first 2 movies, and that was like the first time I played around with implementing a trailer into the actual podcast. Because that literally came out the week they released the Godzilla trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, the Comic-Con one, not the one that came out like a few weeks ago. But yeah, that was the first time I implemented a trailer, and now I'm like, I need to do more of that to kind of give this more flair. If I had a capture card, I'd totally put that opening we had and put it in here.
The MS Paint one.
The MS Paint one. God, I love they have like an MS Paint for 7 Deadly Sins that made me laugh. I'll show you that later. But they have, but he has a friend who's telling him like, yeah, I can't believe you lost your memory. And he's not necessarily helping him with more info. He's just kind of telling him, yeah, you're my friend, this is how you usually kind of are, and this is who I am, and blah blah blah. But also, while Hibiki is like wandering around his town, he sees what looks like these gigantic statues of kaiju. Like,
yeah.
humongous Godzilla-looking kaiju just like standing around doing nothing.
Dude, they pretty much are Godzilla at this point.
They
They look
totally
so
are.
much like Godzilla.
I'm really surprised there just wasn't a point where like they got up and started fighting. But once they did something in like episode 9, I'm like, oh, I guess they're not doing anything with them now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they were flat out Godzilla. Like, I'm just like,
And it's sad what they did to this version of Godzilla. The only purpose that Godzilla served.
I know. God damn it. It's making me sad now. But yeah, but no one else can see it except him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he goes back to like the girl's house, that girl's name being, I should have queued something up for that.
Rika?
Yeah. I should have had like a weird fanboy applause going. Rika. Woo! Yep, those are the cheers for her thighs. Not Rika necessarily, but those thighs. As a lot of, quick side note, as a lot of you guys may probably recognize the show as is, this is the show that came out in the fall that had the female character with Cody Finger's amazing thighs. Because the original, the fucking director told his animation staff, I want Rika to have amazing thighs because that is what high school me would love. But no one can make doujinshis of them. You are committing a crime if you make a doujinshi of Akane and Rika.
I mean, that's not gonna stop the community.
That ain't gonna stop them at all. They'll go to jail happily as long as we get like some creepy monster fucking them. I think one of them was flat out like Akane made a monster to rape Rika, but then it went on her, so it was kind of like that lesbian tentacle.
Oh, I wouldn't know. I honestly
I
wouldn't know.
got curious to see how many there were, so I went on like hentai. I went on that website, and there was only like 4.
Oh, I honestly would not know. I've just barely finished the series, so I'm not at that point yet.
Well, again, I do just want to see Rika. Not Rika. Akane. But yeah, so he goes to school and realizes, like, he goes to a regular school. There's nothing straight out besides, the giant monsters around the city that are completely out the ordinary. It turns out he has another friend named Akane who is this super cutesy girl. She doesn't wear glasses in public, right?
No, she only wears them when she's like by herself at home. Which by the way, I need to find glasses like hers. I just love the styling of them.
It's funny. I have like those hipster glasses, but they put like the actual fiber that goes in sunglasses. So it's like even though they're not black, I have like sunglass protection. We just need to find ones like those where it's like stylish glasses, but they're still prescribed to you.
I know. Oh, you were talking about the classmate and everything?
Yeah. So he ends up like growling, realizing, oh, I haven't eaten anything. So she gives him this. Was it a sandwich or like a hot dog?
It was a hot dog sandwich. Just holy shit, that thing looks so good. I was like,
oh, sorry, what were you saying?
dude, this is why again where like the foodgasm comes again for me. One of the criteria, which is funnily enough, that's kind of like one of the things I tend to do is like one of the things that I rate a show by is just how well the food looks on it as well.
Yeah. What was it? I think Giga. Yeah, in his recap video, Giga's like, and once again, this anime came out where it's anime declaring war on all actual food.
Was it that one where like a place farther than the universe?
I think so.
The one where they go to Antarctica? I think that's the one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it was that one. But I also think it was like a flat out like restaurant anime. Was it that isekai? Or was that last year?
I can't remember.
There was like an isekai where it's like another working at a restaurant in another world. But yeah, a lot of food porn anime. But this one, it's like, yeah, I could see that it looked good, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, so it's a sandwich bread with a hot dog in it, smothered in lettuce, and a giant egg. I don't know if I'd eat that.
It was a hard-boiled egg, to be fair.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm into hard-boiled eggs. Especially the ramen ones where they still have like the yolk in there, and I'm like,
I don't eat yolk.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh, yeah, your diet. That is why one of us is very fit and the other one is all flabby.
Well, less dietary restrictions, but more like I just don't like the feeling of the yolk.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes all sense then.
Cause like I used to try to eat the yolk.
Mm-hmm.
But even when it was cooked thoroughly and everything, I just didn't like the feeling because it just felt a little bit more like, it just disintegrated more easily than the actual the egg whites.
Oh, so that scene in Sweetness and Lightning looked gross to you, where they talk about how delicious it is when like the egg bleeds onto the fried rice.
Yes.
They're like, it's like the best part, and all I'm imagining is Lewis like, ew. But
No, yeah, and then for here, like continuing off as well from the classroom, when she hands him the hot dog, you get like, dude, when you get the scene where like the girls are playing like volleyball right there, like right in the scene, like one of them knocks the ball there, and like it just knocks the hot dog from there. Which two things happened at that same time. First, there was like an awkward silence for like 10-20 seconds.
Oh my god, it went on way too long. For a second, I thought the video like paused. Yeah, I thought it lagged. I'm like, no, the timer's still going up. Oh no, is this directed by Hideki Anno? Is this Evangelion all over again with a minute-long elevator scene?
Oh my god, man. But dude, that was the most awkward part of the episode when I was just like, damn, I don't know if I want to skip this or not because the suspense is kind of killing me a little.
Right? When that happened, I'm just like, okay, who the fuck does that in a classroom? You are playing volleyball in a very close-quartered classroom?
That would be me. I'm not. I told you time and again I wasn't the best high school student, but look at me now. I'm in university in a research lab.
That is true.
I'm like that Yankee girl from Sudazure Children.
Oh no.
The one who actually got serious by the end of senior year. Like shit, I have to get to college.
Yeah. But god damn it, Lewis. See, you're the. You'd be totally fucked if you were in that anime then, because I'm like, okay, you're completely at fault. That was complete bullshit. You shouldn't be doing that into a classroom. But then something happens later on. A giant monster invades the city.
Kaiju.
A kaiju. My bad. I forget this is Japan.
Yeah.
A giant kaiju invades the city, and we'll go into a little bit more obvious detail about the kaiju later. But it goes and starts blowing up the city, destroying shit, and note, sorry, but there is like a good 5-7 minutes before that happens. But we do see what looks like someone is sculpting the kaiju out of clay, while this mysterious being in a computer is basically like, oh.
You mean Inferno Cop?
Yeah, Inferno Cop. She's just watching like an episode of Inferno Cop, and it's like, yeah, she's watching an episode of Inferno Cop, and she's just imagining it's talking to her. But yeah, they have Inferno Cop, which in the show it's called Alexis.
Alexis, I like.
That has to be from like the Japanese show. I'm like, that's the most alien name you can think of is Alexis?
No, when I think of Alexis, I think of Alexa from like the Echo or anything or wherever the hell where you get that little thing where you speak and it's like Alexa, please play this like thingy.
Yeah. The Amazon Alexa, I think. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, I think the name was like Alexis Knapp or something. Like it was a really weird name, and I'm like, this has to have. If this is a character from the anime, from the original series, then it really does need to be from like the original 80s or 90s show, because that is such a plain name for like an alien, even on Japanese standards. But yeah, it's like. It's like, okay, so you want me to bring it to life now, and it's like the character off screen is like nodding to them yes, and it's like, okay, so we have this giant monster attacking the city, and throughout this first episode Hibiki is getting visions and being called by this weird Power Rangers looking being, calling himself
the Power Ranger mecha suit.
Yeah, the Power Ranger mecha suit, and he's calling to him, referring to himself simply as Gridman. I was almost gonna say Ultraman. I'm like, oh no. That is this year. I think we're gonna get like a 3D Ultraman anime from Netflix this year.
Ooh.
I know. Hopefully that'll be good. But so he goes in and Hibiki starts talking to this very old, junky-looking computer that is inside the girl Rika's junk shop. What is it? It's like a restaurant that's also like a pawn shop.
Yeah, pretty much. It just does like stuff it's all stuff like they like connect like antiques if anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like junk pretty much.
Yeah.
But they also have like a little cafe bar in there, which by the way I did not realize what it was. I did not realize that until Board pointed it out.
Oh.
I did not know there was a cafe. I just too busy paying attention to the junk.
Oh yeah. But you have but it like turns on and Hibiki's talking to the being inside it, but everyone else around him doesn't necessarily see him.
Or hear it.
Yeah, or hear it. They just see like static and Hibiki's talking to a computer. So they obviously think he's going crazy, but he disappears and
He gets sent to another world.
yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. The sense of we like this isn't a giant monster Toketsu show. It's just the
Another
third season.
isekai.
Oh, I was gonna say it was the third season to Log Horizon.
Even better. Even better.
Because that one was flat out. We're playing a computer game, like a flat out computer game. There's no VR technology. It's like oh no, it's just Log Horizon. But yeah. But he gets sucked into, and no, he doesn't get sucked into an isekai, but he gets turned into, he ends up fusing somehow with that giant, with Gridman, and ends up forming this gigantic man in the middle of his town to go and fight the monster. And note, by this point, the monster had purposely made its way from where it started in town to the school where the girls playing volleyball were in an after-school program and were there when the creature blew up the school, killing them in the process.
I know. Dude, I was like, holy shit. I was not expecting that.
Right? I'm just like, when they started talking about like, actually we'll get to that in a few minutes. But yeah, so Gridman ends up fighting like the monster. And the cool thing about this show, I'm also gonna link another video to this. But Mother's Basement pointed out, well, it's going to become very obvious to you too, but the creatures are very much designed to look like it's a man in that suit operating it. Like, yeah, just because it's an anime doesn't mean they're going to get too creative. Doesn't mean they're going to go so crazy with the designs. It just means like, okay, we can get crazy with the designs, but we still need to keep in mind that this will be a man in the suit operating it. So you have a creature that is flat out like, the back is super big and bulky, and it has a head that you can tell is straight out like an animatronic head moving up and down. And
the one with the little big hunch, the first one, right?
Yeah, the first one. Well, with the hunch, but just has a hunch in the back, but like the head is flat out like a mechanical puppet, and it's even like the head doesn't even have expressions or anything. It's literally just like like opening up and down, and so straight out like a puppet.
Oh, like Pac-Man.
Yep, and except he shoots fireballs and freaking decimates half of this town they live in.
Dude, yes, they did. And if anything, like so, like that was like the one thing until the kaiju lolly explained it later on. But that was the one thing that always caught me. I was like, shit, man. This is what SSS Gridman is pretty much doing what every other kaiju and like mecha fights are doing, man. It's like, yeah, sure, you're fighting the thing to save the people, but like, what the fuck is happening to everybody else that's living there?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like later on as the show goes on, because at one point something stops happening to the town, and you see that there's not a lot of people evacuating. They're just kind of standing around and being in the areas where the monsters aren't. But yeah, it's like as this show's going on, you see the main hero like crashing through buildings, getting thrown around by the monster, and the monster shooting like its weapons at Gridman, but Gridman's blocking them only for it to hit buildings instead. I'm like, wow, they got super Toketsu with this shit. And so he ends up killing the creature, which one giant red flag you guys will notice is when he ends up ripping the creature's head off, and you immediately see like wires inside it, and realizing that, oh wait, the creature can still function because the head is like a secondary head. Its main head is where the hump is at. I didn't notice the first time, but that thing had eyes on it.
Yeah.
So he ends up killing that, and the day is saved, and they're like, wow, a giant monster attacked Japan. I wonder what's going to happen now. Yeah, the next day, everything is back to normal. It's as if nothing happened. And the only thing different is that the girls playing volleyball disappeared, and no one except for Hibiki, Rika, and...
Utsumi.
Oh, thank you. I was just going to say, and his friend. So Utsumi, they end up being the only ones who remember anything, and it's almost like the world restarted, but it took out the little character file that said the volleyball team. So
the volleyball team is PNG.
Huh? Oh, PNG. What is that? That's not JPEG, right?
No. That's just what I remember. That's just how I remember that Doki Doki had it some files loaded as.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. God damn it, we were supposed to get a sequel that never came. The guy's been so busy still doing things for Doki Doki that he's like, yeah, that announcement I had, I wasn't able to get it out in time, but it's coming. But yeah, so that's the end of episode 1, and we go on to episode 2, which is it starts off again as the characters trying to figure... How about you take it?
So
I don't want to talk too much.
Okay, so episode 2 pretty much is like, and if anything as well, this is what I like about the episode titles from most majority of like the show here, is that it's always a word that has to do with like what's going on between the main character and the main character.
What do you mean the other character?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With Hibiki and then Best Girl.
Best Girl. Yes. So episode 2, Restoration. Oh, I get it now.
See, because like every episode is just the one word, but it just explains everything that's going on there. Like the one that I remember the most was Encounter.
Yeah. Was that the Kaiju lolly? I don't see it here. Oh, Confrontation?
Confrontation, never mind, yeah. Confrontation.
Yeah, Confrontation, episode 8. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, that's where the character basically declared war on them. It's like, yo, I have this thing. It's gonna come at the festival. And episode 1 was Awakening, so at episode 2... Okay, I see what you mean. And then episode 3 is Defeat, which we will go to Defeat later.
And one of the most, in my opinion, one of the characters that I felt so bad for the entire series.
I know. I feel bad for him in 2 separate ways. I'm like, you keep getting your ass kicked, and then when your team turns on you, it's like, God damn it. He is still technically a kid.
I know. But yeah, going on to episode 2, and what was it? Restoration.
Yeah.
So there's a mystery going on where like only the 3 of them remember what happened that day. And nobody else seems to remember like what happened to like what was the kaiju fighting and everything. They checked news sites and everything, but there's like no word of it. And even weirder still is the fact that the school was like fully restored and everything.
Even though we flat out see it take 2 giant fireballs and gets blown into a crater.
Yeah. and everything's weird for them because it's like, hey, it's like there's also a couple desks missing. And oh my god, man.
And then it turns into the 2nd season of another. They put in more desks. Quick, everyone pretend that Rika doesn't exist. We must appease the ghost.
Oh my god. I legit thought that's what was gonna happen because I was like thinking like, wait, so is it like a curse or something with the kaijus or some shit? Like, what's going on?
I know. It turns into like the first paranormal Toketsu. It's them fighting like cursed ghosts and stuff. Yo, hit me up, sugar. I think I have season 2 ready for you.
Season 2? They're not kaiju, they're just yokai that are mutated.
Yeah! God damn it, why haven't... I'm pretty sure due to all the Toketsu that does exist, I'm pretty sure that is a thing somewhere. I know that's a thing. There's gotta be like giant kaiju Toketsu shows out there somewhere.
That are actually just nothing but yokai.
Right? Oh my god, I want it so bad. Fuck, that might be one of my many audio jam ideas. I have a lot.
Oh my god, man. But no, yeah, that's legit with the yokai thing. That's legit what I thought was happening at first. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, why does nobody remember them?
Yeah, and I was kind of glad that I was right. I'm like, okay, so this giant fight happened, but the giant kaiju that were in the city line weren't moving at all, and the kaiju wasn't the kaiju that was attacking wasn't interacting or even noticed them at all. And the city's back to normal, and the giant kaiju are still there. I wonder if they have something to do with the city restoration.
Honestly, I did not draw two and two together until the kaiju lolly explained everything, and I was like, ah.
When she explained, I'm just like, oh my god, did I get it? Yes! Even though weird, because you'd think like restoration kaiju wouldn't look so menacing.
I was just so sad. I was like, oh, so they're just basically the janitors and not gonna do anything like epic with them. Okay.
Some janitors have a shady past. I mean, can't you use them? But yeah. So they end up trying to unravel what is going on, and
they even visit the families of the children who disappeared. Which, funnily enough, with them, every time they go visit them and like they ask the parents what happened with them, they always tell them like, oh, they died in an accident or like they died young.
Yeah, and interesting how it's like the person in charge of this couldn't just flat out say, oh, well, they were never born. It was like, no, they died before high school started.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting. I'm like, how come you don't just completely erase the fact that she was ever there instead of making up another story like, oh, she died?
I know, because like that's also what confused me as well. Like just like how you mentioned it, because like why would any I guess maybe if anything just for like probably just to see like just to like kind of offer closure to the affected families, but even still, there weren't gonna be that many people who remembered the ones who died.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I can kind of see where it gets confusing from there.
Yeah, but again, it's like I'm not gonna knock the show down for that because I'm guessing as it goes on, the person in charge of the restart had no idea that another giant being was gonna come and start beating the shit out of the monsters. Because one of the things that happens is a character, Akane, overhears them mention the word like Gridman,
mm-hmm.
and she's like, ooh, what's this? Like she goes to Hibiki and she's like, what's this Gridman? Tell me. It sounds interesting. And it's like, oh, it's nothing. I gotta go meet my friends right now. Mm-hmm. And then you just hear her silently say to herself, I wonder if that has something to do with our visitor the other night. And it's like, you go home, and Akane is basically that character from Mob Psycho 100 who just lives in a room of garbage.
Which one?
In Mob Psycho 100, it was the student council president.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you remember he goes into his room at one point, they're like, pick up your garbage. And it's like, okay, I will one day. And you just see him, like, hug a bag of garbage and stuff. Like, that's just the room. It's like, I don't know if it was garbage because she never leaves the room and doesn't really see a point in throwing it out, or if it was like art utensils, like if it was clay or something.
I honestly didn't know. I didn't think it. So now that you mentioned it, it might have been that because I thought I was like, damn, it's trash.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that. I'm thinking like, you know what? This girl just probably doesn't see a point in throwing it given who she is.
And then more importantly as well, I think it might just be trash because like whenever she makes the sculptures and everything, like if she does have leftover clay, she does have to bag it or some shit at some point.
That is true.
So it might be trash.
Yeah.
But more importantly, what caught more of my attention was the fact that she had like that huge collection of nothing but kaiju collectibles.
Oh my god! It looked like going into a goddamn like an anime shop.
It just felt like jungle. It felt like anime jungle.
Yeah, that's what I was going. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's like going into anime jungle. Where it's just row after row of these glass shelves full of kaiju stuff in it, and it's like, god damn. First of all, number one. We know that she is crazy, and that makes it 1,000 times more harder to me.
What? I thought she was a weeb.
No, and also, we find out she's a weeb, which is also 2,000 times more harder, because, yeah, she is flat out into this Toketsu stuff, and that is something, even in Japanese culture, it's super rare when a girl is into that, apparently. Like, someone was telling me on a board that they're like, yeah, the fact that we have a character in anime that is into Toketsu is literally the only time you'll ever find a girl ever into Toketsu in Japan.
Oh, wow.
Because it's like, if you think anime is for kids and, you're not and there's not a lot of older people into anime. Well, it's really rare when you find a girl into Toketsu, because Toketsu, for a lot of people, are considered nothing for boys. Like, it's just specifically aimed towards boys, so it's very rare when you find a female who's into that stuff.
No, yeah, and pretty much as well, because again, going back into like going back into the series as well, and just talking about it, a lot of these things just definitely felt like watching the show. It felt like I was watching Power Rangers as a kid again. I was like, but it's I'm 21 and I'm watching SSS Gridman.
You're 21?
I'm still 21.
I forget how fucking young you are compared to me. Goddamn, I'm 25. But what were you saying?
But yeah, like the whole time watching the show, I was like, it feels like I'm just watching like Power Rangers right now.
I think that was one of the things that got me into this show, is like it really did take me back to those Saturday morning cartoons. And if it wasn't for the fact, for the Raft episode, this could have easily been like a Saturday morning cartoon that maybe like Cartoon Network can throw on their block, if anything. But we're just gonna have to wait for it late at night on Toonami, if they ever pick it up, because those guys still haven't picked up like Ushio and Tora. They picked up fucking Pop Team Epic.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to watch TV anymore. I just stream everything.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's me. I mostly find out because I follow them on Facebook, so I'll just be scrolling and they're like, My Hero Academia now on Toonami and like Pop Team Epic. I'm like, oh god, no. But yeah, it was. It's really interesting that I heard that. So Akane really is like a one of a kind girl, like ever. Because yeah, she is super into this Toketsu stuff, and she's using monsters specifically to build a better world. Because what ends up happening to her before we see her room is her teacher bumps into her. She says, "Oh, I'm sorry," and it's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." And then he just like walks past her, and you just see her squeezing the fuck out of her juice box until it pops.
And then you get a close up of her face as well. And dude, by that second episode, you'll pretty much figure out who she is at that point.
Yeah,
you pretty much figure out.
It is, yeah. Like they did kind of a clever thing in the first episode to not show you her face at all, but
only her eye, if anything.
But it wasn't like close enough for you to be like, oh, that's the "I'm gonna shank you" eye. Like in the second episode, it's flat out clear that she's going to kill him. So what ends up happening is she ends up creating another kaiju that flat out looks like Godzilla.
Oh, dude, the crystal one?
Yeah. And it was designed specifically to kill him. So now we know that whenever there's a person in her world that pisses her off, she'll just send a giant kaiju to destroy half the city to get to them.
And that's the funny thing, is that she follows it with a drone as well.
I know. I was wondering, I'm like, what the fuck is that little drone? And that's like, when the samurai guy showed up, I was thinking, well, maybe he works for a company that's in charge of keeping an eye on the kaiju, so they're just watching it. But then it's like, oh no, it's her in her room watching it through a little laptop as this monster is freaking destroying the city and stuff.
I know. And then a lot of the things as well that happen, like what the message says, Gridman is SSS Gridman.
Yes. Four.
And especially as well as the fact that a lot of the things that happen through the episode, especially when it comes to like the fights and everything, like what's going on, is that you see Akane not just be like, that villain where like she's just kind of like on the side for like a couple like episodes until like in the end she reveals like, I'm the main villain you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like, she's from the beginning, she's gonna be the villain. Well, yeah. not just the main antagonist, but just the pure villain in this show as well. Because like again, it's not like she's hiding a personality. It's not like she's hiding like this alter ego or any shit like that. She's literally like that every day.
Yeah. She is pretty much proud of the kind of person she is, and she won't flat out tell people, yo, I'm gonna kill you with my kaiju. She's just, when she's out in public, she's manipulative, and then when she's at home, she's flat out like, okay, what am I gonna build now, and who pissed me off today that I'm gonna destroy? But at the same time this is happening, a samurai who was stalking the character since episode 1 reveals himself, knows exactly the kind of person he is, And
Dude, I like that guy. It was Samurai Caliber, right?
yeah. Oh, there you go, Caliber. And which I still don't get his samurai swords because you see the sheaths and they're like regular swords, but then when he pulls them out, they're like twice the size with like spikes on it. I'm like, how the hell are you fitting those in there? But
The multitude of swords that he can. Oh, when he enters the shop as well.
oh yeah, every time he left the shop, I entered the shop. It's like, who is that guy? Chink.
He always gets stuck in the doorway, so he has to enter sideways.
And it really does show you the fun sense of humor this show has. But he ends up coming in and is like, oh look, here's the computer. He starts ripping it apart, puts in different like software in it, and
Just fixes it up because one of the things that's one of the running things about the show as well, aside from the kaiju, is that Gridman's pretty much limited to the technology that he's stuck in.
yeah, and it's not like, oh shoot, there's a kaiju out there, let me hit the bracelet I have and I'll turn the red on the spot. It's like, no, right when the kaiju attacks, I gotta get to that computer before it can cause any more destruction.
Yeah.
And but what he ends up doing to the computer is he fixes it up to the point where now even Utsumi and Rika can see it.
Yeah, see and hear. Can they hear him still?
Yeah, they can hear him.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think when after the restoration they were able to see him but they couldn't hear him.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time Caliber fixed up the computer, it was they could hear him and see him even better now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Hibiki ends up going in and fighting the kaiju, and it gives him a little bit more of a fight, but taking a hint from taking a point from the Superhuman Samurai show, the American counterpart, Caliber can go in, type in say another access code, and go into aid Gridman as a giant sword that Gridman can use. And that is something very much that does happen in Superhuman Samurai. And I don't know, maybe it's a thing in the actual Japanese show too. But he goes in, kills the creature, and then that's the end of episode 2 with Akane 100% being certain there is someone out there who could destroy her Cody Finger's perfect haven.
Yeah, and more importantly, that it's like it's causing if anything, it's just causing a disturbance to her spoilers, her world.
Yeah, her world. But again, spoilers will be open because there's something we gotta talk about that the show ends, and I'm like, what are they trying to say here? So we move on to SSS Gridman episode 3, Defeat.
Oh my god! And then we get introduced to what probably for me one of the characters that I felt so bad for the entire series.
Oh my god, he was just a little kid. He was a little shooter boy.
You know what he reminded me of? You know what the sad part was?
What?
The whole time I saw, I was like, God, this is like a kid who's trying to impress his abusive mother just by doing the one thing he was told to do, and he can't even do it.
Right? Yeah. Because so she didn't make him, right?
I thought she did.
Oh,
Cause
okay.
I remember she was talking to Alexis and her was like, it was brilliant that you made an actual like artificial intelligence or something like that.
Oh,
I don't remember what it was, like an intelligent kaiju.
Oh, okay. So she did make him. So that means he is to an extent artificial, while the lolly is genuine.
Yeah.
So with the what is it? With the possibility that there was even a third one that we saw before the actual series kicked in. So I think you're right. Now that I think about it, that character might have been from another variation of Gridman that started before this version, because she did talk about, you ended up saving another one of us back in the past. I didn't think of that until now. But yeah, again, I just thought that Akane... What was that?
I heard something too. It's haunting!
Ah!
It's the yokai kaiju!
Run! Your house gets kicked in by nothing. So...
Imagine it's the FBI, because we're just talking about kaiju lollies.
Oh yeah. Talk about something else. Stop going back to the lolly. But, yeah, so...
Oh, it's a squirrel.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something in the house. I'm like, oh no. Even though it'd be really hard for anything to infest your house due to like how little furniture is in here.
Yep.
So we have Akane like creating this kaiju named Anti, which is for more or less is basically like a rare kaiju. He can switch between a giant badass looking kaiju to just a regular kid.
And I love his design as a kaiju, man.
So cool.
Dude, his abilities and everything, I pretty much like he was one of my favorite kaijus. He was like one of my favorite kaijus so far.
He was my favorite. He's my favorite kind of character in anime. Is like the character that starts off as the adversary and is like purposely a carbon copy of the main character. Because
he's pretty much the White Ranger.
Yeah. See, yeah. That's why I like. That's why I like Power Rangers. The Right Ranger, the other Right Ranger from Power Force. The Bull Ranger. I think at one point somebody had like a Golden Ranger too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're like, I'm the better one of you and I'm going to fuck with you. But then by like the last 2 seasons I'm your friend. And yeah, he has the ability to like copy Gridman's power. So if Gridman unlocks a new ability, then he can copy that for himself. He can copy an ability from a kaiju, as we see later on in the rafting episode. Mm-hmm. He's basically the perfect mimic character, and we see that his relationship right now with Akane is Akane has huge aspirations for him, and she's making food because, you know, just like anime, we need to have that gluttonous character who likes to eat.
Well, I mean, if your son turns into a kaiju on a daily basis, he must need a lot of calories to power through all that.
Oh yeah, I always forget about that. To maintain that shape, you're wasting a lot of energy.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, I want you to go kill Gridman. You are made for the specific purpose of killing Gridman. So go and kill him right now. So he goes, challenges Gridman by like, you know, tearing up the city a bit, causing Gridman to go and intervene and fight. And yeah, as Akane had hoped, actually becomes a huge problem for Gridman, as not even with the help of Caliber from the last episode, can help take this thing down. They really do get it handed to them. Mm-hmm. And are forced to retreat with, you know, Akane like, yeah, you know.
They finally killed Gridman.
Yeah.
And she treats him to a buffet.
Yeah. And, you know, she explains why he was made and how he may look human, but he doesn't have a heart.
Yeah, so when he asked, when he almost got existential to that point, so am I a human? He's like, no, you're a kaiju.
Yeah. They're like, you may look like it, but you are still 100% kaiju. There's nothing else to you besides that. Even though, as we know later, is completely not the case. Mm-hmm. If anything, she created the worst thing possible for her.
You see, this is why if you've ever played a lot of shows that have to deal with AI, i.e., like The Matrix or Terminator or anything like that, you never want to get an artificial intelligence to the point where it becomes self-aware.
Yeah, or else they might end up unlocking things that you will never realize are even possible.
Oh, like when he made his own kaiju?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's like, hey Alexis, I have an idea for a kaiju, and it was easily one of the more powerful ones, even to the point where it's like, well, how can you kill a kaiju if it's not really there? And it's like, oh god, yeah, he was close to killing him at one point. But he ends up going, and I think by this point we see the kids, quotey fingers, from the Neon Genesis Academy, that they find Caliber, and like, reveal to themselves, yes, we are associates of Gridman, we are here to help you fight against the kaiju. And one of them involve a very tall dude with a super badass like mask.
I forgot his name.
I know, I forgot a lot of their names.
I only remember Boar and Caliber.
Yeah, Boar, Caliber. I'm pretty sure they were like names that referred to the thing they transferred.
Yeah, because Boar is like a drill and shit.
Yeah. Oh right, that was what we thought was the female lolly, but was really a Shota.
It was actually a Shota all along.
Yeah. So we have Another dude who's like the typical I don't really care kind of like handsome looking dude.
Oh, the one that turns into a jet?
Yeah.
Shit, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, he turns into a jet and I like how when I type in SS I immediately get SS Sniper Wolf because she's like really she's like in a really controversial light right now. It's a what is it? It's a YouTuber.
Ah.
So, and then they reveal to themselves, yes, we are here to help you. We're here to fight Gridman. We are here to help Gridman to fight the kaiju.
Yeah.
And they even know that the enemy is in fact Akane. Like they are well aware that she is behind all this, but even they're not entirely sure why.
Well, yeah, and then a lot of the things as well is that if anything for them, a lot of them, I forgot who was it that explained like who was it Caliber that explained who they were, or did they just introduce themselves like that?
It was the taller guy. The taller guy did a lot of the talking.
Oh yeah. And then a lot of the things as well is like these guys, if anything, which again, which is another reason why I gave you the Power Rangers vibe is that a lot of them turn into like vehicles that SSS Gridman can use. That Gridman, I keep forgetting that's just the title of the show. That Gridman can use to like kind of enhance his abilities and everything. But like every other like Toketsu series where like with like giant mechas or anything, there's a time limit that he has to use them.
Yeah.
Just because how much energy he uses with it.
Or even at one point how they realize all 5 of them can't go in at the same time or else the computer crashes. Max is the tall dude.
Max, okay.
Yeah, so Max, Boar, which is...
The Shoda.
Yep, and it flat out says here on Wikipedia, an androgynous boy. God damn it. Whatever, I didn't really like that character anyway. He was funny though. His relationship with Utsumi was really funny. A man with Vit.
Vit?
Yeah.
Okay, that one makes no sense at all.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I get it. Max makes sense because he's
The truck.
Yeah,
water truck.
He's a truck that like maxes out his strength wise because basically, as you had just pointed out, they They turn into vehicles that Power Rangers and Voltron wise, mainly Power Rangers though, especially at one point how the 4 of them can combine without Gridman, which I'm like, why didn't they do that more? That was awesome. They turn into vehicles that can attach to Gridman and give him like perks. So like the jet one can obviously help him fly. The Jill one helps him shoot out these deadly missiles that can barrow through anything. And then he has one. Caliber gives him a sword, and then Max is a chain that turns into
train. I thought it was a truck.
I thought so too. Or maybe I'm just thinking of that.
The MSP one?
Yeah.
When he was promised the name.
Yeah. So he turns into a truck that turns into 2 giant arms that he can like do super punches with. So he ends up combining with Max to go out and fight Auntie, and ends up like being able to beat him full on. And when Auntie comes home, expecting a snack from Akane, she just ends up like throwing the food in his face. Like,
I know.
Really violently too. Like he's, like you said, he's a kid trying to please his abusive mother, because as the show goes on, there's a good part where she doesn't do anything with him. So every time she comes home, he'll just be standing out in her place.
And then she like all she ever does is like throw her phone at him, or like whenever he can't do any other orders, because that's the funny thing is that to be honest, Auntie's kind of like a genie. He was specifically only made to kill Gridman. So when she asked him to kill other people, he's like, sorry, I can't. I'm only made to kill Gridman.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking genie.
When she wanted him to kill those YouTubers.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just glad that those YouTubers weren't like shamelessly Logan Paul though, because there's this anime that came out that's based off an old school manga. It's with yokai. I forget what it's about. I'll look it up later.
Okay.
But the first episode was flat out like they had a Logan Paul type character
Oh God.
in there, and it was so shamelessly him. But this one was that episode 4? No, right?
I think that was episode 4. No, 3.
Okay. No, we're on episode 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so episode 4, Rika and Akane are invited on a group date, but the aftermath is disastrous. Will Yuta be able to convey his feelings to Rika? Oh, right. So this is where
Hibiki like starts noticing he has feelings for Akane, which finally there's a fucking show where it's not the other way around and the main protagonist is dense.
Well, here's something that I was thinking, because remember how when he tells her he doesn't have his memory, and she's like, "Wow, that's a really messed up joke to play on someone." Minor spoiler right there, but did Hibiki like confess his feelings to her only to immediately pass out and wake up with no memory?
That might be the case.
That's what I was thinking, because she always looked at him as this longing, very confused look. And when she started picking up the fact that he had feelings for her, she immediately started pushing it away, possibly due to the fear that he might just end up passing out and forgetting that he did it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, the show never tells you exactly what went down, but that was something I couldn't get out of my head. I'm like, is that what happened? Did he confess and then Gridman showed up?
Yeah.
Which, ooh, that sucks. But yeah, he ends up realizing he has feelings for her because Rika's 2 friends end up talking to these college guys?
Yeah, they're college YouTubers.
Yeah, college YouTubers who agree to go on a group date with them. And they talk Akane into going with them because, I mean, given it's 2 girls who are pretty, teaming up with 2 girls who are arguably the hottest in their school, which is Rika and Akane.
Oh, I thought you were talking about her friends. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. No. I'm saying that Rika's friends are pretty, but like Rika and Akane are said to be the 2 most popular in their school.
And yeah, and then that brings up a question as well. Is like, I know it's a thing that people like sometimes do like in other countries, like, you know, you're always wearing like a mask and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
Why is that though? Like, was that like a style option or something?
It could have been a style option, or it could be that the character has a low immunity system.
Yeah, because I know some people like wear it a lot, especially like in heavy places where like it's heavily smog. I mean, you see a lot of people wear it. Now I'm talking about Beijing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's like the one example I can think of from my classes is like a lot of people wear a lot of those like medical masks just to like, you know, like cover their faces and everything. But I know in other parts of the world they do it in style. Well, I know because of Nestor, because I know a lot of people who are into K-pop wear a lot of those face masks as well.
And you flat out have one that just has like the lewd little mouth.
Oh yeah.
With the blushy face on it.
Oh yeah. But that's only when I cosplay.
Yeah. But yeah, they do have very fashionable ones. There's a guy at my work that he has one that's black and just has like a white X over it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they end up going on this group date, and the guys, you know, they seem nice. They're just cycling through the girls to figure out which one they're trying to go, you know, which one works out the best for them.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Akane is just not having it. She's not interested in any of it.
Yeah, because the only reason she tagged along is because she wanted to like ask Rika more about like Kibiki and everything.
Yeah.
And oh my god, though, dude, that whole episode just felt like a ticking time bomb for me because like, God, you're just pushing her buttons to stop talking to her.
Yeah, ignore her. I know she's super cute, and I know that she is arguably the hottest one out of the 4, but stay away from her because you don't want to know what she's capable of. She is the pettiest person on the planet.
She is. No, she really is.
She is, man. It's like, this person annoys me. Let me destroy half of my city. Snap. She's worse than Thanos. At least Thanos was like, I want to build a world that is safe for everyone. She's like, I want to build my perfect world, so I'm going to kill you with a kaiju.
Damn.
Yeah, so all four, and not even like one of the guys, but all four of them like annoy the shit out of her to the point where she creates a kaiju that picks them off one by one.
Oh, the one that Gridman can't detect?
Yeah. Because what was it? Was that the one that was just like smoke?
Yeah, it was smoke for a second, but then it would like come out as like this little like well, not a centipede, but like this little thing that can sprout tentacles.
Yeah. Yeah, like all you'll see is like they show a guy running and calling one of his friends, like telling him to help him, and all you see is like this smoke, him surrounded by fog, and out of nowhere you see these two light tendrils of light just like grab him and pull him into the smoke, and the next thing you know, they're watching a YouTube video where it's only one guy, and they're like, Enrique's like, hey, what happened to the other thing? What are you talking about? There's only ever been one guy. It's like, oh no.
And they're like, yeah, it'd be creepy if there was 4 guys in the YouTube channel. And I was like, oh wow.
Is that a slight against Smosh? Because I completely agree with that. Where it was originally 2 guys, but then it was like 17 people afterwards when Anthony left.
Oh my god.
Which, by the way, since it's been a while since we've done podcasts, RIP Smosh.
Repeat.
How come they couldn't just keep the IP? Now they have to start their own channel from scratch. But yeah, so even though I haven't seen Smosh since Anthony left, but yeah, so she is like, she immediately calls the guy to meet up with her, in a sense to like, we need to protect him because whatever is happening, a kaiju has targeted him.
And that was you know what? That was the funniest thing ever, because she's like, it's like, I was like, I don't know, but like, you remember your friends like somehow disappeared all of a sudden? It's like, what are you talking about? I was like, are you playing a joke on me? She's like, yeah, I didn't think you'd understand.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? What kind of warning was that?
Yeah, just tell him, man, say that you have like a stalker, like say, hey, there's like a YouTube stalker and they're like following you, you need to be careful, please. But no, he's just like...
He just thinks she's playing along with it.
Yeah, are you coming on to me because I do think you're cute? And of course, since she didn't tell Yuta, except like she might think there's a kaiju there, Yuta's just like, oh no, she likes someone else. Oh, my chances are ruined.
Oh my god. Which pretty much drives him to stalking them.
Yeah.
For the good amount of episode, all because Boris is like, who knows, you might just be too late.
Oh yeah, fucking Bor, right. And I also love how Max is like trying to play the love doctor here, like talking to him, and even Gridman, who is arguably has no idea how humans work, is just like, well, I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about, but it does really sound like you care about her. So,
you know what? And the one thing that I like that Max does is like just how he like how he puts things into perspective. Because whenever this is one thing that I found that works a lot with people, whenever, especially when they're crushing on someone,
yeah.
and be like, so you like her, and be like, no, I wouldn't say that. So you don't like her. Just phrase it like that.
Yeah.
Don't give any room for wiggle room or anything. Just like you like her or you don't like her. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. And even if you say you like her, it can mean anything. It could be like, well, she's my friend.
Yeah.
Or, you know, yeah, I have the hots for her. I mean, come on, who wouldn't?
Which is why, like, for the better part of that episode, like, Max is just like, hi, you two are so vexing to watch.
Yeah.
He's just confused the whole time.
Max was the audience at that moment. He's like, oh no, not this shit again. But, yeah, so Yuta Hibiki ends up noticing, that's why she's with him. Oh shit, I have to get to the computer. There's a fucking kaiju here. And you go and it's like, yeah, it's this weird caterpillar thing that hides itself in fog and has like these tentacle things that stick out of its sides. Mm-hmm. And that is when you start getting like the symbiotic titan effect, where you have a monster that is 1,000 times bigger than the actual good guy, and you see the good guy trying to have to work around the size.
What? That wasn't that one, was it? That was the other one. That was the island one.
Oh, right.
Remember, that one was like around the same size as Gridman.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, Right. I thought it was weird how you had this giant kaiju picking people off one by one and no one else noticing that. That was why I was thinking of it as like humongous, bigger than it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of a completely different episode. But yeah, that's when you have Gridman like fighting him and
that's when Auntie shows up as well.
yeah, Auntie who basically has taken the role as I'm the thorn in your side. I'm the little boy who's like, I am evil, fear me, and starts like hitting you with a wooden stick. Because, he'll show up, and again, Auntie is dangerous in the sense that, oh, look at this kaiju mom made. I can copy that ability and also turn it on Gridman. But he shows up, I think he ends up fusing with...
He doesn't fuse with it, he just starts fighting them. He starts fighting first, he fights against the kaiju because he says only he can kill Gridman.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And that's when pretty much after that, I forgot with who it was that he fused with.
I don't think that's anyone.
I forgot if he fused with Max again or if it was with Caliber, but that's when he defeats the caterpillar thing, and they both run out of energy, so he's not able to fight against Auntie at that point.
Oh right, okay. Maybe I should have like at least taken a look at the synopsis for this, but yeah, he after that ends, it's for sure certain that yes, he does like Rika, but since this is only episode 4 of an anime, we gotta put up with this whole for like the next 12 episodes or so.
Oh, dude, I know. And then I guess just move on to episode 5, which is the rafting episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, provocation.
Provocation, yeah.
Provocation. Thank you. I am very good. I am currently teaching my Belarusian friend proper grammar, even though I do not know it myself. A field trip takes the class away from the city for some summer fun. But when trouble occurs, far from home, there's no easy way to get to junk. Which we forgot to say, junk is the name of the computer that they communicate to Gridman with.
Yep.
So, yeah, basically it's exactly what it said. There's going to be a rafting field trip, and everyone's kind of excited to go, and of course there's...
That's when we get one of the best shots of a con in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was so good!
God damn it. This is currently a very messy set right now. But yeah, it's like... Obviously, it's nothing but full-blown fan service for at least the first 10 minutes, so I gotta give it to them for that. That is only 10 minutes.
Yeah. Especially when she like, dude, I don't know what it is about Akane, whether she's standing up, lying down, or whatever the fuck she's doing, but like, holy Christ, the physics. They work out!
Dude, they do that. It's that anime thing where it's just like, no matter what way the insanely hot character is sitting down, even if it's the most like casual way possible, it's like, goddamn, you still look good though. What is it? It's the JoJo thing where them just standing around, they're doing a pose unintentionally.
Oh my god! And then I'm like, props to Utsumi when everybody was like pinching his belly fat, and then like Akane joins in, so I was like, you're right, it is squishy, and he's just like standing there like just paralyzed from the embarrassment, but also the fact that his crush is touching him.
Right, which is always a good feeling. I mean, I've never had a feeling like that per se, where they're touching me someplace I wouldn't want them to touch me, but I would always have like, the girl would hug, not accidentally, but would do like a light hug, I would like do this, and I'm just like, I was those guys. I'm like, I'll take anything right now. But yeah, props to him on that, especially when she was looking lewd as fuck. Wait, no, what's that one? What's the one people are using now? Oh, she be looking like a snack. I started hearing that like in the summer. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I heard that because of the military YouTube videos I saw.
Oh god.
where there's this guy who's like talking about the different recruitment offices, and then he went to the Navy and he's like, look at you looking like a whole snack.
Oh god.
Like, oh shit.
Oh god.
And I'm like, damn, I guess I know what the military thinks of the Navy.
Yeah. Like that Family Guy joke. Yup, in the Navy school, he'll be surrounded in a bunker with lots of men. Well, he will have to shower in a room full of lots of men. God damn it! Of course, a YouTube video would make a gay joke about the Navy. but yeah. At the time, though, she ended up making this kaiju that we didn't really get the size of. The only real...
Dude, I got a size of it because when I saw the model, I saw trees in the mountain, and I was like, oh fuck, this thing's an island.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be an island for a minute.
I thought that was where the field trip was at, because remember when they're on the train, they all fall asleep?
Yeah, oh, that's true. I thought they were on the kaiju itself.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. It's like, okay, I need to make an island because literally... upcoming spoiler, literally the only thing that exists right now is the town they're in. Everything else around it is like floating. It's basically an ether. It's nothing out there except for like a couple of floating rocks. But yeah, so I thought the island itself was like where they were having the field trip, and so the island, this kaiju was just the island because Akane needed a location. Mm-hmm. But it was really like a mountain, like still a fucking humongous mountain, but it was like a mountain that she had because she realized, okay, I know that Gridman has to be someone in my school, and they have to be someone in my class. So by having this field trip happen, I have this monster attack, and then if Gridman shows up, then I know it's someone. Yeah. It needs to be someone in here.
And I like how she pointed out and everything's like, which tends to happen a lot in a lot of kaiju films and everything, which is like, I really hate cheaping out when you try to go like, trying to go out for like, trying to go for bigger is better. Yeah. But at this point, it's like I have no other choice because there's no other way to fight Gridman unless I have the mass advantage.
Yeah. And again, it's this thing that I'm really glad people are doing, that the writing is doing, because I'm currently writing a zombie story that is doing the exact same thing, where they're just like, well, if you do this, you need to take this into consideration. If you do this, you have to take that. Like, I know recently I wrote a part where there's a scene, I still want you to watch that movie, but in the I Am a Hero movie, there's a scene where these guys are in the middle of a hallway and zombies are like coming at them and they're shooting at them. And I have a scene where the characters try to imitate that. And it's just like, no, with this, you need to remember that these are choreographed actors pretending to be zombies. While in this case, you really are just fighting animals that are crawling over each other. That's not gonna work. So, in this one, you're right. She's just like, I'm not a big fan of bigger is better, but when you really gotta think about it, I need the math. Yeah, it's exactly what you said.
Because like the one thing she says she has a problem with is like whenever, especially when it comes to upscaling a kaiju, if it gets too big, it becomes problematic to actually incorporate like designs to it at that point, because it just doesn't become physically feasible to move it at all. Yeah. Which is why she said like that's why she had to settle with the island kaiju. It's like, you know what? I wasn't able to put that much detail into it, but hey, I kind of need the mass right now. I need an advantage over Gridman in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and how they would actually do this in a live action episode. Props to Mother's Basement. Again, his video will be linked. He basically said, so how they would be doing this in the actual show, if this is a live action Toketsu, this monster would be an entire prop. So that scene where Auntie or Gridman are fighting the monster, they are just jumping on a fake set. They're jumping on a fake non-moving set in the same shot, but then when the monster's by himself and you see the mouth moving up and down and the tail moving, those are obviously puppet and mechanical effects. But it's a small puppet. That is why we don't have any of the other monsters around him in that scene. And then when you do see him, it's just like a monster with its mouth open all the time making sound effects. Yeah. And that's like one of the cool things about that scene you reminded me of, because I actually forgot that Akane talked about that. But that really is like, yep, this is what you go through when you have to direct an episode like this.
And more importantly, it just ensconced Akane's position as best wife. It's like, she gets kaiju. I love her for that. Right? Especially when she talked to Utsumi about the kaiju.
Oh yeah, in episode 6 was the one that had like that giant cooldown episode.
Was it episode 6? I thought it was episode 9 where they were in the dream world.
Oh no, because a few unexpected. Yeah. So it's episode 6 because episode 6 had like no kaiju.
Oh, that's right. When she was trying to find out more about Hibiki.
Yeah, because she tried to she tried to get to Akane, but Akane didn't really know anything the first time, so she went straight to Utsumi and played to play to her strength, which is I'm a huge Toketsu fan, and so is he, and I know he has a thing for me. So let's see if I can get that going.
And I love how she explained the thing about kaijus. Like, my favorite. She says like her favorite reason why her favorite characters are the kaijus because they're always outshone in these type of shows. Like you never really get to see them in a different light.
Yeah, and the designs of them are a lot more like fun and memorable rather than the human performer who almost never changes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so episode 6, episode 5, they defeat the monster with the help of Boar, who is a drill. So teaming up with her was just flat out like, boom, you're dead.
Yeah, and then the thing about it again, this is more like feels bad man for Auntie, where he rescues Akane and like gives her a scarf and she's like, oh, this thing stinks.
Yeah.
And she just leaves the scarf there on the railing. I was like, oh my god, that kind of broke my heart.
I know, like he's flat out like, here, I'll save you, because she was going to die. Like she was about to get killed by her own creation just by being in the crossfire alone. And it's just like, here, I'll help you. There, you're safe. Here, wear this to be warm. This thing smells like shit. It's like, oh, poor Auntie. Mommy will never love you.
Mommy will never love you. Which is, again, for me, I think Auntie for me was like the epitome of the means of the feels bad man.
I know, right? or like, lays down on the floor, tries not to cry, cries a lot. So like episode 6, we have the episode where nothing happens, except for some really good character developing moments, particularly with Utsumi and Akane, where Utsumi's out in the bookstore looking at, Toketsu stuff, and Akane shows up and like starts talking to him about it, and as I mentioned before, he's just like, wait, you're into this stuff? Like, I don't know any girl who's into this. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh yeah, I know this, I like this design, even though this design I think is a lot more simplistic. This one is trying too hard. Like, she really knew her shit. That's a part of this one comic my friend showed me before, where it's just a guy and a girl across the room, and it's like, hey, and then the girl's like, I like anime, and the guy just runs up to her and is like, marry me now. Oh. Yeah, that was one of those moments where it's just like, yeah, if that was me, I'd be like, marry me now. But yeah, they start talking, and of course they break the fourth wall a bit by being like, yeah, can you believe when there are episodes where there's no monster fights at all in here? It's like, yeah, what's up with that? That's so weird. And it's like, yeah, this is happening right now. We're like 12 minutes in. There's nothing happening in the next 11 minutes, is there?
And it's funny when they did that in Power Rangers as well. Like, let me just bring up the fact that whenever they like try to bring it back, it's like, oh yeah, remember these guys are in high school still.
Yeah. So they still have to do high school stuff, or maybe if Rita does something, it doesn't always end with a fight.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's just Akane realizing, okay, 5 times I tried to do something, and this fucking Gridman showed up and tried to stop me. I need to really figure out what is going on. I know for sure, due to the ending of episode 5, that Hibiki is Gridman. I just need to figure out how he's doing it and why he's doing it. So I'll get to this fun.
Yep. And then was it episode 5 where she tells Auntie tells Auntie like, this is Gridman actually, like he's the one who turns into Gridman?
I think it was mainly a hint. Oh,
because I remember it was around episode 5 or episode 6 where like at the beginning like she was like, here I want you to kill this guy. Like, I told you already. It's like, I'm only made to kill Gridman. It's like, yeah, this is Gridman.
It was the opening of 5, yeah. Right, I forgot that's where the encounter happens where Auntie tries to jump Yuta and then he gets rescued by Caliber and Max. Yeah, Caliber and Max, and that's when this relationship, as the show goes on, it's not immediate, but this relationship where Caliber sees something in Auntie that the others don't, so he's the only one that tries to talk to him like a person.
Oh, and then when Rika takes care of him.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, man, when I feel like whenever Rika sees Auntie, I feel like she thinks like this guy's homeless, like a homeless orphan.
Yeah. Yeah, like he doesn't eat. I gave him one of my sandwiches and he scoffed it down. And even with me being like half, hey, do you want this? It's like not even like a no, that's okay. No, it's a.
Either that or like he's always, whenever he finishes one, he's always staring back again at the lunch bag.
Yeah. And like looking at her like, do you have another one?
Especially when she took him home and like gave him a bath.
Yeah, but she's like, Jesus, what? And he said something that gave her like a what the fuck, and that was, haven't you taken a bath? What's a bath?
You know, he's like, what's a bath?
And she would have, she cleaned him, and the mom who, again, I love those mom characters who are just like, I don't really care what's going on.
Well, remember, Rika did try to hide. I don't even know if the mom even knew he was there or not.
Oh, the mom saw him after she was sneaking him out of the house, yeah. But like she snuck him in the house, but then couldn't get him out unnoticed. But yeah, I forgot that ended up happening in that episode. Like I remember it happening, I just thought it was like the episode after. Mm-hmm. But again, this was the cool down episode, so I can imagine that this had to have been the episode.
Because I remember, if anything, because again, I remember that episode 6 was the one with the kaiju lolly.
Yeah. Episode 6? I think that was when she was shown, no?
Yeah, no, episode 6 is with the kaiju lolly, that's when she takes Hibiki to the train.
Oh. I thought, okay, so Jane, collapse, confrontation, some of them went, oh, okay. Okay, right, because we're on 6 now.
Yeah.
7 is when he tries to tell them and they don't really, believe him. Mm-hmm. And then 8 is flat out like, okay, we know what Akane is. Alright, so how about you talk about what happened with Yuta and the chain and the kaiju lolly?
So episode 6 is pretty much Yuta's walking I think he was like trying to go on his way to like to the shop with Rika.
Mm-hmm.
And he's alone in this alleyway when he gets approached by this this lolly character and everything. And like talks about like, hey, it's like you may not remember me, but like I have a favor to ask of you. He's like, what do you mean? It's like you may not know this, but I'm a kaiju. He's like, yeah, right. And he just turns around to see like a supersized lolly.
Yeah, like he doesn't even turn into a monster, like either a full monster yet, like Auntie. It's just like, yeah, I don't believe you. Okay. All right.
And then that, pretty much caught me off guard because oh shit, now I see where the kaiju lolly comes into play. And not gonna lie, she did bring a lot of explanations to the whole story.
Yeah, I'm actually a little disappointed that that's all they did with her.
I know.
Well, that and also to give Auntie a home in the end, mm-hmm. like a companion in the end. But yeah, she ends up like taking him on the chain, keeps him from falling asleep, and then explains things to him.
Yeah, because like and that was the cool thing as well, because like the whole time they were on the train ride, it was like nothing but clouds out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so she says that's where she like puts the music on him and everything. It's like, this is keeping you from like falling asleep. And I really like how they did the explanation to what Akane is.
Yeah, so how about you explain that?
So during the train ride, the kaiju lolly starts explaining that she was actually a predecessor before all these new kaiju started appearing. And she starts going more into like, this is actually a world fabricated by a single human. And I like how they didn't beat around the bush, just keeping it a mystery from him. It's like, and that human is named Akane Shinjo.
Yeah, which he's just like, wait, what? Akane's doing all this? No, come on, Akane wouldn't do that. Oh yeah, she would.
And she's like, so it's like, to this world, like, Akane is pretty much like equivalent to what you might call a god. Because all of the city's been fabricated by herself. And I liked when they were doing that sequence, how they were doing like the little like like the Roblox thing.
Yeah.
And then and then when they did the design of the city, it just looked like Minecraft.
Yeah. And it was flat out like a mobile phone animation was just like, and then kaiju come and rebuild the city, and it's just like kaiju walking over the cityscape, and you see clouds like going on it, and suddenly when they pass the buildings are there.
Yeah, dude. And then for me, it's like, oh, so that's all the background kaiju. I was like, oh, I wanted them to be something else.
I know, man, and I was waiting for something really big to happen with them, like near the ending, but it's like, oh no, because we have another episode, but they don't do shit. But yeah, so he finds out, yeah, she's a god, and she's the one causing all this. You guys are basically in a world of her creation.
And that's where the kaiju lolly kind of like, again, what we were talking about earlier. She said when she mentions like, I was like, this is actually as like more of like as a favor done to you again, because you did help one of my predecessors once in the past.
Yeah, which again, I want to, that only made me want to like go and look up more of this show, because I'm like, okay, this has to have been a nod to like a show before this. Whether it's Superhuman Samurai, I don't know, or maybe it's the original Gridman that Superhuman Samurai used the footage from.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like up in the air by that point. But yeah, she says, you helped me before, I know you don't remember it. And I think was she aware of Auntie? I think she said something about Auntie.
I'm not sure. I don't remember if she was aware of him at the time or not. Because all I remember is that she was just talking about the creation, so she might have been aware of Auntie.
Yeah, I think she mentioned him, like somehow him saying that he was created by her, but he's something different. Like, I think she was the one that kind of foreshadowed what ends up happening to him later on as the series goes on.
I think so too, but I don't remember quite well.
Yeah, so by the time that episode ends, we have Alexis, who is now in the city wanting to look for Akane because, yeah, she never showed up to the computer for her daily kaiju attack.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was like pretty much out and about the whole day, and she was like, since she was getting nowhere, she was pretty much like, she didn't feel like making a kaiju that day.
Yeah. So we see him in the ending like, she may be out of it, but I guess it's time I meet her face to face. And the episode ends and we go straight into episode 7, Scheme. The others are finding Yuta's story hard to believe. Nobody wants to confront and ask Akane, but in the meantime, Auntie has made plans of his own. So
this is the one where Auntie makes his kaiju, right?
Mm-hmm. So this is where Akane is not really in the mood to making the kaiju, because she's just like, okay, I know it's them, I need to figure out how to deal with this though. I don't want to just do it my own regular way. I need to maybe make a deal with Gridman.
Oh yeah, because which is kind of weird actually, and I just mentioned it as well, like, she really didn't want to just like send another kaiju at them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was because she knew them or because, she knew like, oh, Gridman's just going to defeat it anyways.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it's the former.
Exactly. And we have Grid and we have Auntie who's just like, well, Alexis, if you really want a monster that bad, I have an idea how to defeat him for sure. And they end up creating this kaiju that looks like a little satellite.
Mm-hmm.
And, flies around and is those flat out like, I'm faster than the speed of light that I can just hit you and you need to dodge me, but, you can't necessarily catch me. And when you do destroy me, I pop back up again, which they're like, okay, so this isn't the kaiju, it's connected. We have to get up to the clouds somehow. And that's when we finally see Vit come into play, who is, a little jet. And fuses with Gridman and gives him the power to fly. Yeah.
And then you know what? If it wasn't for that episode, because remember when he defeated the island kaiju?
Yeah.
Dude, I was so confused when the rocks were just floating there. I was like, wait, is that thing getting back to life?
Yeah.
And then when nothing happens, like, I wonder what that was for. It wasn't until later on when they explained that, oh yeah, there's an ether surrounding the whole thing. It's like, oh, so that's why like all the rocks were just floating rather than like just tumbling back down to the city.
Yeah, and it was and since there was like really nothing of that city for it to go back to, they were just floating there.
I know, which is funnily enough what was eerie about it, because when they went to the trip, no other human beings were there.
Yeah, it was only them.
It was only the classroom.
Which that might be one of the reasons why the teacher there is like so track-minded up until like later on where they explain, oh look, our teacher's actually friendly now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might just be Akane's influence, like don't ask any questions and just do what's on your simple little minds.
Yeah.
But so they end up going in and they see this puppet master looking kaiju, which of course is flat out the most obvious that it's a guy in a suit, because you could tell in the show this would just be some muscular guy in like or just a big guy in a skin tight like muscle padded suit with like a helmet on. Yeah, like floating in the sky and controlling the little satellite thing that we know would probably be CG, like cheap 90s CG. I love cheap 90s CG, they're so fun and obvious. But they go in and fight, and of course Auntie, doing his thing, mimicked his flight and is actually giving Gridman a run for its money. But, of course, they defeat the kaiju, but one of the big things to take away from this episode is there's something in the sky, and it's huge. It's practically taking up the entire sky over the city. Is this another city? What is this? Is this the rest of the town we're in? Is this a spaceship? Is this the entire world floating above us, unaware of what's really going on?
Oh, yeah.
My God, I'm just like, oh my God, stop throwing all these questions at me right now. I just wanted a kaiju anime. But yeah, and it ends with them like, with Alexis showing, actually, was this the episode where Alexis and Akane like revealed himself? I think it was.
I believe so, because that was like the previous scene was the one. Yeah, previously was the one where they foreshadowed him like on the roof for like for the first time in his physical form.
Right. So this was where Akane takes Yuta out to eat at the restaurant of the girl she killed, and they meet Alexis, and of course he's like, "What the fuck is that? An alien?"
Oh yeah, I think it was that episode.
I think it was the episode, because then when they're like, "Oh, a kaiju's here," they're like, "Oh, you better go and see who it is." Yeah, I think that was the episode. But yeah, not a lot happened wise. It's just that now Yuta and them know there's an alien working with Akane, and we do not know how much control she has or how much the control the alien has, who's controlling who in this case, but we know there's a fucking alien involved, and that's why one of the guesses were, well, maybe that was the spaceship we saw up there, but we're not sure. And we move on to episode. Did we do 7? Yeah, 7.
It's 8 after that.
Confrontation, go!
Where she declares war on him, right?
Yeah.
So this is the one where like pretty much at this point like, oh okay, we've already established that that Akane is the one that makes the oh, am I reading the synopsis?
Oh no, I'm just so you can remember.
No, yeah. But yeah, this is the one where like again we were talking about earlier, where she's like, oh, he's like Akane declares war against them, and they're like no, now this is like this time for sure, like no one's bullshitting. It's like, okay, we don't know that Akane is the one for not. Like, okay, we already know she's in league with this alien that's able to materialize these kaiju and everything, and she's the one who's pretty much crafting the kaiju.
Yeah.
And yeah, we get pretty much a little bit more into like what's gonna be happening for the series, because honestly, leading up to this point in time, I was expecting SSS Gridman to be like, oh, what next kaiju are we gonna be fighting this week?
Yeah.
But then after episode 3, like that's pretty much out of the air. It's like, oh no, it's not gonna be that type of series.
Yeah, it's definitely going places, because what we know by this point, we've got to mention it, but in one of the earlier episodes, we know that in Akane's eyes, the world before the one she created wasn't going her way. So we know she has a motivation that she wants to make a world that is unique to her and goes exactly her way, where she's surrounded with people who love her. Yeah. And again, I think, we'll go into it near the end of the series, but I think it really just has something to do with her otakuism.
Right? That's what I got on this as well. Like, maybe she's just a me who wants friends.
Yeah, right? But again, so what ends up happening in episode 8?
Shit, I'm trying to remember.
It's the school festival episode.
Really?
Where they end up, it's the episode where
Oh,
she
that's
decides more
right!
on them. But it was like, hey, I'm gonna release this bad boy here on the school festival.
Oh yeah. When she was like telling us like unless you don't want to see people die, it's like you better do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you either join me or I release this thing at the school festival. And basically the kaiju she created was Mecha Godzilla, except it was the original kaiju from episode 1 that was like has a mechanical head, and basically she described it as giving it an upgrade. And again, one of the cool things about this show is looking at, all right, so this is how they animated it, but how would this work if this is an actual mechanical puppet? And it's like, oh wait, it's super obvious, this one too. I love the way how this one worked. But yeah, so what ended up else happening in this episode?
It was the school festival, and I think at this point, this is where Akane's pretty much getting a little bit more desperate, if anything, when trying to keep them as friends, or like trying to keep them compliant in her world. Because I remember from this point onward, and then especially in episode 9 with the dream world and everything.
Oh my god, yeah.
She's really getting like, she just really wants them to like, like not get out of like go out of the ordinary, like or resist what's happening in the world. She's more or less just trying to get them to like be compliant with her rules, if anything. Because like at this point, she's already established. We're already starting to see like the bigger landscape of what's going on around this whole city.
Yeah, and like the only real mystery we have right now is what does Alexis play into this besides, hey, I'm creating the kaiju for her. Like, what is he getting out of this? So yeah, we move into episode 9, simply called Dream. But it's Akane tries to win over the Gridman alliance by lulling them into a dream. So this is one of my kind of favorite episodes of anything. Actually, Titans had an episode like this. But it just starts off with it starts off almost exactly like episode 1. Yuto wakes up with no memory, but Akane's there instead of Rika, and is like, yo, you're my boyfriend.
Oh yeah!
yeah, you're my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend. Here's a watch that you wear all the time, and it's like replacing the Gridman locator device he has.
Yeah.
And
then that's pretty much as well where like ooh, when she was that the one where she tried to seduce him?
No, that was the episode before where she just shows up at his house.
When she's hugging the pillow and shit?
Yeah, and she's like, do you want to join me? And it's like, well, I meant on my side. It's like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like, obviously it's a double entendre. It's like, do you want to fuck me? No, but I'm really asking you, hey, do you want to join my side?
You see,
but yeah.
You see, this is the episodes where my memory start getting blurry, because this is to the point where I was falling asleep.
My god. But you cannot forget the freaking sexiness that is Akane.
Not gonna lie though, at that point I was too tired and I was like, oh shit. I thought she was like full on like just flirting with him.
Yeah.
I didn't get the part of I completely forgot the part that she asked. It was about the alliance, not just joining her right then and there.
Yeah, well, we know that originally those 3 were made, Hibiki and Hibiki, Utsumi, and Rika were made for a very specific reason, which I forgot. The ending of episode 8 literally ends with Akane taking the bus with Rika and telling her, you were made for the specific purpose to be my best friend. You were made to love me. That is why you're so hesitant to turn against me. So... not much happens in Hibiki's except like you're not friends with Rika, you're not friends with Yuta in this universe, you're my boyfriend.
Is it Utsumi?
Oh yeah, Yuta's the main kid.
Yeah, Yuta's his name, you're not friends with yourself.
It's not my case. One of these days, you're just gonna fully convince me that Daniel isn't real. I've known him for 13 years already.
You sure it wasn't for 25 years?
Oh God. He was. Yeah, but we have Rika, who is like totally girl BFF friends with her, and one of the interesting, weird things that goes on though is she goes to Akane's house and Alexis is there. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and she's like, oh, that's like a foreign exchange student, and he's like, oh, is he an alien? No, it's like, oh, what is he? And it's like, oh, he's an alien. Nah, I'm joking. It's just cosplay, and I'm just like, why was Alexis there? What? Again, I'm like, what is Alexis getting out of being there? And I'm like, I wonder if it's just her not knowing a lot of people that she couldn't just make up a foreign exchange student. So it's like, fuck it, let me put Alexis in there.
Right? And well, actually, for me, the way I thought about it, English.
Yeah.
But the way I thought about it when I saw Alexis there, when I saw it, I was like, you know what? I feel like the only reason Akane's able to pull off this dream thing, if anything, is because of him. So maybe it's one of those things where like maybe he has to be there along with her, with the creator, with her as well, just to be able to keep the dream going.
True.
So
And
I thought that might have been the case.
and that's the only one that he pops up in though, right?
Yeah, I believe that's the only one where he pops up with Rika, because she's the only one that goes with to her house, right?
Yep.
Because like Utsumi, when she's with she's with Utsumi, they're like somewhere else.
Yeah. Though maybe he would have seen him too, because she did basically invite him over to the house and, fuck.
Yeah.
To insinuating fucking. And yeah, that's the thing with Utsumi's that's so interesting is Utsumi's dream is every goddamn person watching, every goddamn male or lesbian watching this show would wish happened to them. Run into an insanely hot girl who's into your shit and you spend the entire day with her buying cool shit and finding out how much of a fucking weeb she is and just falling in love with her. But things start crumbling apart after that point, because one thing I forgot to mention is in Hibiki's dream, Gridman is popping up in reflections and TV monitors for like a flash second, and you can
pretty much coming up as echoes.
Yeah, and you could tell that Akane might even be aware of this, because I think there's even one point where he's popping up in a glare and she like moves something to block it real quick. And he does that in the other dreams, but the thing that woke them up wasn't Gridman or any of the other characters trying to wake them up. It was the fact that the characters were like, wait, this is too perfect.
Yeah.
Hibiki's like, we're in a perfect relationship, but this doesn't feel right. I have to leave. Rika's like, this doesn't feel right. I love you, but I need to leave too. And Utsumi's like, yeah, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
He was flat out like, this is too perfect. You are inviting me over to your house to stay the night while your parents are out of town. I am sorry, as much as I would love for this to be real, I have to leave too. And you end up finding out that they were under the influence of a kaiju that was just walking around the city.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite little moments, because we get moments from the outside of the dream, but Auntie's like, where's Gridman? Why hasn't he come out to fight that thing yet? And it's like, Gridman is right here, but he is sleeping. So that means he cannot come out and you can't fight him. Fine, if I beat that thing, then Gridman will show up. And you just see Auntie in his little kid form jumping up in the air and trying to hit him, but it's not working.
Oh man, there goes again. Like probably if anything, like one of the better reasons why Auntie for me was like, aside from being a tragic character, one of my favorite, well, not only one of my favorite character designs, but just favorite character developments in general. It's just all the things that he's up to.
Yeah.
The fact that his obsession to Gridman eventually just who knew I would have ever said this, but the fact that his obsession eventually led to character development.
Yeah. Which is very rare with obsessive characters.
Yeah, because usually the obsession just leaves them to stagnate to like just a stereotypical character. Like, oh, they're just going to be obsessing with them over time and then eventually just become obsolete.
Yeah, or they're going to join him, but it's not going to feel like he earned it.
Yeah.
This one flat out felt like he earned, he earned his alliance towards Gridman and the rest of the team. And yeah, that was the thing that I, just like you, I appreciated they did with him. But this is also like, I think this was the episode where Auntie called him, or Caliber called Auntie, and it's like, how did you get his phone number?
Oh yeah.
Because I was wondering about Auntie's like little relationship or like apprenticeship with Caliber was starting to kick in. But yeah, they end up breaking out of the dream, waking up, and end up fighting the kaiju for real once. They end up Freddy Kruegering the creature, where they pull the creature out of the dream world into their reality and killing it there.
Oh yeah.
And that was basically episode 6 with
6.
Sorry, episode 9 with them flat out. Hey, I was technically right. It was just upside down.
I was like, what?
Where they end up. But where they end up basically. Akane's realizing,
she's pretty much losing them as friends.
Yeah, she lost them as friends, but she doesn't even know what to do from that point on. I think that's when she stops making the kaiju altogether. I think.
Well, she's starting to, because remember before that, that's when she started getting desperate. And was this the part where she talked to Hibiki in the graveyard?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the part where she starts telling. Oh yeah, the graveyard where she sees where he sees Gridman's reflection and realizes this is a dream.
Yeah.
Because like at that point he starts seeing that she's that's before the dream stopped, before he gets out of the dream world, and then was this the episode before she kills him?
Episode 10. This was the episode.
Yeah, that's the episode where she kills Hibiki, right?
Yeah. So in episode 10. It's exactly what you said. She's done. She's on the cusp of not even wanting to make kaiju. But Alexis, due to this contract they have, is like, you have to give me a kaiju. Give me a kaiju. I don't even care what it is by this point. And she ends up giving him basically a children's attempt at a kaiju, where it's all fleshy and pink, and its head is like not, it's unaligned, but it comes out and it's like. It acts like a child. It's just dancing around and not really causing destruction. It's just wandering around and just maybe destroying things because it's not really aware that it's even there.
Yeah.
But the Gridman's team, who I forget what episode. I think it was maybe episode 9 or 8. But they realized, hey, if we lower the amount of energy that Gridman appears in, we can get all 5 of us to combine.
Yeah.
So it was them like combining all together to fight this kaiju, and they're like they basically kill it in one hit, and they're like, wait, that's it? But the body's not deteriorating, and it's like, well, it's dead, so I guess we can just leave. But the world hadn't restarted, and the creature's still there. And we witness the creature's skin crack open and something else is inside it, which is the more obvious now this is just an anime, because I cannot even explain how they were able to create a kaiju suit that can move like that. Because it's like you see arms and legs on it, but it's not enough for a person to do backflips like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, another kaiju pops up, and it reminded me of that Pokemon that's like a clamshell with like a little head in it.
Oh, the Cloyster?
Yeah, Cloyster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it was like this weird clown-looking kaiju with like arms and legs, but then you see a little red eye in the middle, and it was just jumping around and slicing, cutting buildings in half. But another interesting thing that we notice it does is it cuts the head off of one of the kaiju outside. The
background kaiju.
Yeah, it destroys the background kaiju, and it's just causing. It's not really attacking with purpose anymore. It's just attacking anything, and something happens to Hibiki to where they couldn't get Gridman out.
Yeah.
So Auntie's like, okay, if you won't do it, then I'm gonna do it. He goes out, tries to fight him in his regular form, but then after finding his own identity and realizing what he really wants to do to serve what he wants the purpose of his life to be, he ends up becoming Grid Knight?
Yeah, I think it was somewhere along the lines of that.
I think it was. Yeah, I know Grid was still in there, so I think it was Knight. But yeah, it was like Grid Knight or something. And it's another one of those classic I am your exact polar opposite now. But again, it felt like it was earned. It was something that the show was teasing towards for a long time. So when it finally happened, instead of like, oh, that's a cop-out, it was like, that's fucking awesome!
Yeah.
What is it? Boar is just like, oh great, he's been ripping us off the whole time. That now he's just going full on for the look, and it's like, I don't think this is the rip off. I think this is the genuine article. This is the actual Gridman.
Yeah.
And I'm all like, oh god, what is happening? What did Akane do? She didn't realize what she made. But yeah, he defeats the monster in a completely one-sided fight, and it was awesome. But now we know that Alexis's relationship. How much time do we have?
No, it's 3:17. We have like an hour left.
Oh, okay. So Alexis is finally realizing that Akane, by this point, is no good to her.
Mm-hmm.
And episode 11 leads us on to episode 11, Decisive Battle. Disaster strikes on a morning like none other, and it's hard to tell friend from foe. Akane seems to have all but given up, but Alexis has other plans in store. So...
This is the one where she becomes. This is the one where she becomes the kaiju.
It's the ending of this episode.
The ending, yeah.
Yeah. So this episode, what ends up happening is they end up waking up the next morning, and the city is still destroyed. The kaiju people have now noticed the destroyed background kaiju in there, and it's just the world trying to function after this disaster happened.
Yeah.
Which by this point, I could have sworn I heard that this show was going to be like 24 episodes. So I was getting super excited as in what is the other episodes going to go from here? And then when I looked at Wikipedia, they're like, oh no, it was 12. I'm like, where the fuck did I get 24 from? Or maybe it was going to be 24, but then they're like, we spent too much money. We did like 3 projects simultaneously to each other. Because while they were doing this, they were helping animate, what do you call it? Darling in the Franxx, and then they were animating this, and I don't know if it's coming out this year, but they are working on Promare, which is the anime that will show us the return of the Killer Killing Gurren Lagann team.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could have just been like, well, we wanted to do more episodes, but we realized money constraints, but I think it was perfect that the episode was this long, that the show was as long as it was.
I think this world's starting to fall apart. I have no signal in my phone.
Do I have signal in here? Yeah, I have full LTE. But yeah, so what ends up happening is they're like, okay, so the world's not repairing itself. Akane has fully given up. We tried to go to Akane's house, but it literally, they walk in and it's like the abyss. There's nothing in her house, just like the shell.
Oh, yeah.
They go in and it's like nothing was there to begin with. It's not like an empty house. It's like an empty ether. There's nothing in here. And so they go in and they're like, great, that means Akane moved her house location. We don't know where she's at right now. And Alexis, who is like, okay, you won't make me any more kaiju? Well, I'm just going to go and use the kaiju you already gave me. So it was flat out like every kaiju, except for the giant mountain one, I think. Every kaiju from the other episodes have shown up and started like wreaking havoc through the city, and the Gridman Alliance and Grid Knight are trying to keep them at bay because, as I forgot to mention that you mentioned earlier, Rike shows up at the junket shop and stabs Hibiki.
Not Rika, Akane.
Did I say Rika?
Yeah.
Shit.
Akane's the one that stabs Hibiki.
Yeah. Akane shows up and stabs Hibiki. And Hibiki, for at least most of this episode, is in a coma while the others are like trying to keep everything at bay. Because they literally have like 6 or 7 different kaiju attacking the city at once.
Yeah, the ones that were created in previous episodes.
Yeah, and even though no matter how overpowered Grid Knight was, he is still fighting at the capacity of Gridman, fighting against these kaiju that have almost killed him if it wasn't for the help of the other kaiju, of the other Gridman Alliance people. And the only people who want to work with him is Caliber, because at one point Caliber's like, yo, fucking pick me up and use me, and he's like, okay. But yeah, we do see them like fighting, and the real thing that's going on is, was it episode 11 that we find out what Gridman was, or was that 12?
I think it was 12 when we figured out what Gridman was.
Oh, okay. But we do see that Rika has found Akane sulking and is basically telling her, look, I don't know why you're doing this, but you need to stop this. I can be your friend. You don't have to do this. You don't have to resort to this. And Alexis, earlier in the episode, basically said, she did this from her own free will. I'm not making her do anything. She sought me out. I'm just reaping the reward that she's creating for me.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to interrupt this needless, useless moment, but if you don't want to make me a kaiju, Akane, I will make you into one.
Mm-hmm.
And the episode ends with him like turning into a kaiju and ends with her screaming. Which we go into episode 12, the final episode.
The final one, and I think this one's the one that you wanted to talk about the most.
Yeah.
Because I remember you brought it up a lot for me before I watched the series.
Yeah, so episode 12 is basically the final battle.
Mm-hmm.
Gridman talks to Hibiki, ends up waking up in his subconscious, talking to Gridman, and he says, I think I know what we really are. You aren't in control of your body, and you haven't been in a long while. I and my team of the other Gridman Alliance members, we were sent here to go and stop Alexis, and I had to take over a host body, but there was a problem when coming down that I ended up losing my memory and have no real connection to myself either.
Which, if we remember, like in one of the episodes earlier, I think it was with the kaiju lolly or something, where Hibiki has like this brief like remembrance of like of Gridman getting impaled.
Yeah, and I even think at one point earlier or later from that episode you mentioned, the Gridman Alliance are even like, we can combine together, so that must have meant that the 5 of us at one point were one being.
And that would explain a lot, because remember in the first episode when when SSS Gridman started, you see like the little star that like broke into pieces?
Oh.
That would explain that.
Yeah, that would. And this is a new Gridman design too. Like it's a very much an updated design from the original Gridman. So they do find out that Gridman is borrowing Hibiki's body, and the same thing might be happening too with the Gridman Alliance members.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm gonna restart my phone. I'm not getting any services. But continue.
Yeah, so he ends up talking to Utsumi, basically telling him the truth, and it's like, well, I have to go and stop this. And Utsumi, feeling like he didn't do anything from this episode, is just like, well, it's my friend's body. What if you get killed, you're gonna get him killed? And it's like, well, that's the price we're gonna have to pay. We need to stop this. If I don't use this body, then what are we gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up leaving, and Utsumi again breaks down because for this entire time he felt like he served no purpose here.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. It was kind of like the psychic that all he ever did was just do the analysis. But again, Utsumi, for the most part, I think in the beginning, I think except for like in the beginning, where he kind of psyched out Hibiki when he's like saying like, hey, imagine if like all the kaiju up to this point that you were killing were actually people that were made into kaiju.
Oh god.
Which prevented him from fighting that second kaiju.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and he's even like, I feel sick because I've been rooting for that. I was getting excited seeing you put your life on the line and seeing you kill these other kaijus, and I feel ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
But
yeah.
Throughout the series, I think if anything, like Utsumi just kind of like shapes up a little bit of anything, taking things more seriously. If anything with Hibiki.
Yeah, and again, he was the one that he did help every now and then because he was like the kaiju expert there, and he was able to get. After that little outing he had with Akane in the real world, he was able to get a little bit more information out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like the character was fully useless like he thinks he was. It was just you served a purpose that wasn't as grand as you were thinking it was.
Yeah.
And we end up seeing Gridman show up, fuse with the other four members and is flat out combines into the original, and I mean the original Gridman that was like ever created, that flat out looks like Ultraman with a different helmet.
Yeah.
And I love that scene because they end up like pulling Auntie earlier before that though, ends up going towards the Akane kaiju, which first of all, not only does it look horrifying, but its roars are basically the scream of Akane. So when you hear the roar, you hear this monster effect, but then you hear like the voice actor screaming. I'm like, oh my god, that's morbid.
Dude, that was like that was kind of like Nightmare Fuel a little bit.
It was, and then they flat out had like the Evangelion moment though, where like Auntie's like pulling her out of the creature, just like how they do that in one of the Evangelion movies, except it was like an Eva pulling out a giant ray.
Oh yeah.
So they have that moment where it's him pulling out Akane, and the creature was still kind of alive, but I guess they just kind of forgot about it. Mm-hmm. Because at that moment, Alexis turns into his monster form, which is just him, but his robe turns into legs.
Oh yeah.
Which that cracked me up, because you know how we talk about doing like adventure series? Mm-hmm. I could literally imagine like several different jokes for that in an adventure series.
No, yeah, but again, if anything, it's sort of like one of those like cliche like Toketsu Final Fight series where like the villain turns into like his monstrous form, and you get like the final epic battle and everything.
Yeah, and at least it looked better than Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie, where he fuses with one of the robots, but it's just his head on a robot body, and it looks really uncanny.
I know what you're talking about. Funnily enough, I know what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure, you know, if you've seen we've been talking about Power Rangers this whole time. I'm pretty sure anyone who's a Power Rangers fan has seen that.
Oh my god, man. And then, if anything, I think it's time if anything, we can just probably head into the ending.
Yeah, the ending. So, you know, they end up saving the day. Gridman leaves the body. But one of the interesting things that happened, though, is Rika goes to Akane's house where she has all of these moving boxes, and she's saying how originally it was scary in her world, the world around her was scary, things never went the way she wanted to go. Mm-hmm. She always felt like an outcast, and this was her way of creating friends who understood her, guys who would like her, and Rika was like basically the popular girl that she always wanted to be her best friend, but never could. Yeah. And Rika gives her this what was it, like a wallet or like a handbag?
Yeah, the little card holder for a bus pass.
Right. Yeah, that's what it was. Coming soon to someone's Instagram page who custom made that, or the Aniplex custom page Funimation or Aniplex, I forget who owns this show. I think it's Funimation. Because it's already dubbed. So it's got to be Funimation.
Because of the MS Paint.
Oh, and the MS Paint, I forgot too, yeah. Yeah, so somewhere you can buy that actual very fashionable looking card holder case. But yeah, she gives her that, and it's like, is that any way I can convince you to stay? And it's like, no, I think being here really did show that I do have to live my life my way, and I've already caused you guys enough trouble. Mm-hmm. And she leaves. The show goes on with its ending. But then we get one of the weirdest shots that I'm just like, what? But we see what is a live action shot. We are now in live action world, where we are looking at a live action version of the bus pass holder. And now we see this girl's room with like some little, not all over the place, but like little bits of monster memorabilia around it. And it's this girl getting up from the bed, rolling over to the side, and then it goes black. And I'm like, okay. So my thoughts are, was she a real girl who ended up using anime as an scapegoat and was using it as her method as escaping reality? Is that what they're trying to say in this giant monster show? Do they get really existential right now?
I felt, if anything, when I saw that ending, well, again, at this point I was kind of, this was like earlier in the morning when I was like waking up.
Yeah.
But like, seeing that, if anything, I was like, damn. I don't want to think about this right now, but like, now I see why Danny called it a really weird ending.
It was, yeah. And as I was talking to you and we were saying about how much of a weeb she was, I'm like, is that what they were trying to say? And especially when I was telling you what I know about Toketsu, about the Toketsu fandom in Japan, is that what's going on here? She was a weeb girl who, given how anime is viewed in Japan most of the time, how it's a thing for kids, and you're a nerd if you like this, and hell, you're a girl who likes a genre made specifically for boys. Of course, you're a fucking outcast. Is this basically a story of a weeb girl who did not feel safe in her own reality, that she ran into anime and she created a cute boy that she would want to date, or like a boy who gets her exactly and appreciates her love of this genre with a super popular girl as a best friend? Is that what they're trying to say? That this is just some otaku's power fantasy who doesn't want to deal with the real world? And I'm just like, oh my god, this is... Why did they get deep? Why couldn't you just end it like this?
Like, hey, think about it. This is trigger we're talking about. So we could have gotten this, or we could have ended up with the Darling and the Franxx ending.
Oh yeah, but instead it's just like...
They go to space and fight Alexis's race.
Yeah.
Fighting for Earth.
Yeah, and then they get flat out like full mythical with it, where instead of her being a god in the sense that this is all in her mind and she's creating it, it's really, she is an actual god. She's like a god alien, and they go into space to fight the god Akane and Alexis's race. Yeah.
It was like something like Haruhi.
Yeah. Yes, like something weird like that. So I do appreciate them trying to keep the ending open, and it's them kind of like, this might be just a simple giant monster story that a girl made up in her head, or it could be a girl using the story as an escape because she didn't feel herself in the real world. And I'm like, oh my fucking god. And again, I don't want to be mean to the people who have seen the show, but no one is talking about this. I've gone on boards before. Hell, when I was going to the Wikipedia page, this thing has like a 70.
Really?
Yeah, it's really horribly rated on my... A 7 is pretty bad on my anime list. I learned that like if you're a 6, you're trash. If you're a 7, you're mediocre. Because an anime fan will never go down to like 1 for no matter how bad they claim a show is. But yeah, it's like 7.5 on my anime list. AniList is a 70%. IMDb is a 7.5.
Oh wow.
So people like it, but it might be completely due to the fact where they just found the show repetitive, or they couldn't make heads or tails about what was up with that ending.
Maybe. Because again, I told you, like, the first two, and the thing is, about the repetitiveness is, I only found it in the first 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Because when I was watching the first 2 or 3 episodes, I was like, oh, it's like one of those, it's pretty much like Saturday morning again. We're like, oh, what's this morning's kaiju battle?
Yeah. And, so it's like, they do think they're gonna get that, but then as the show goes on, we see there's a lot more going on, and not even like in the sense of, oh wow, there's more character development. This show's great, like something like School Live, but it's like they're going into a subject where you're thinking, wait, so is Akane supposed to be like an outcast? Is that what they're basically saying right now? Is this why she's God? And I do think that this entire ending, why they specifically shot it in live action, it was like, this was an otaku girl who tried to escape reality.
Oh, yeah. And then, if anything, you want to go into final thoughts? Well, you can go first, because I'm going to go change into my shirt right now.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I'll be back.
He's got something important to be. Anyway, let me go ahead, rev up
Rev up those fryers.
Rev up those fryers, because I'm hooking up my leg. One moment. Let's see. Anyway, guys, I'm going to try to find a way to get, I'm going to try to find a way to get that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show back up going. I know Foxy has been really busy. As we mentioned last week, he was in a movie, so obviously he's going to be busy with his own thing right now. and he's trying to make a skate park possible. So we kind of need to put up with that for a bit. But anyway, okay. So I'm gonna go into final thoughts because for some reason there isn't an official ending for this show. But let's see, ending full. Here it is. So, SSS Gridman. Ooh, gotta be careful with this table. SSS Gridman to me when this initially was announced, I was like, oh, cool, a giant monster anime, because I didn't really think that for an entire culture who loves giant monsters and has created one of the most iconic kaijus in the world, you'd think that would be just a shit ton of anime about kaijus, but really when we were supposed to do Giant Monster Month, we kind of had the problem that we only found like 3, with one of them not even really being kaiju. It was just like a Monster Hunter type anime. And one of them being an American cartoon that was inspired by something like Gridman and Ultraman. But yeah, this show really kind of surprised the hell out of me. I found the characters completely endearing. Obviously, this show has anime main character syndrome, where it's like, oh, well, you can obviously tell that's the main character due to how crazy his hair is. Not that much, no. And some of the side characters looked really, stand outish too, including Akane's friends. But it was like, I like that chiming that happened. Not that much. But it, it has that. But, as the show goes on, the characters are very likable. And above everything that was going on meme-wise, like, Rika's like thighs and all that, I really did like the character of Rika. Usually I'm not a big fan of those kind of blandish female characters, but she had a role to play in the show, and when she found out that she might be nothing more but a puppet for Akane's pleasure, it really made me like very endeared towards that character, and I wanted to see these characters get pulled out of the situation. And of course, as we've mentioned before, and it will be in the link to this podcast, but a lot of these fights are being directed not in the anime sense, but in the live action sense, how the movements of Gridman are limited to the way a man would move. He's not jumping all over the air and moving super fast. There's even one part that Mother's Basement pointed out that at one point he's fighting in a way where you can tell that he's supposed to be in a harness, because that's what they do in a lot of these Toketsu shows, including the Godzilla movies. And, a lot of the way these kaijus are created, they're very unique. And the show even points that out, how the kaijus are usually the most interesting part because of how well they're designed and stuff. And the show being directed by Chiga, which we know have a complete hard-on for giant monsters and giant robots, they really do deliver in this show. And I do feel that Gridman is, again, I don't get why the rating isn't something along the lines of an 8, or at least a high 8. I wouldn't really go for a 9 because,
there's not a lot more to offer than people are giving it credit for.
Yes, thank you. So, yeah, I do think it at least be an 8. To me, I think the show's a perfect, the show to me is a perfect 10 because I can't think of anything I hated about it. But in the 70s, come on, that's just mean. But again, to each their own.
And I think if anything, I think it's just what Gridman had going against it, and again, what we're talking about earlier, it's just that it's a Toketsu type of film.
Yeah.
It was mainly aimed towards the male audience and stuff like that. Well,
yeah.
Historically speaking.
Yeah.
Not that this show's only male audience.
Yeah, and also I do notice that a lot of people aren't really big into they're not necessarily big into the idea of when anime kind of poke at otaku culture. And if what we're saying is true, and this might be a poke at otaku culture, that might not have sat well with certain people either.
Probably, because again, going back into like your analysis of like the Rika thing and everything, it does pose the question in a very of like, is this really like is this really something that people use a lot for escapism? And you know what it kind of reminded me of? It reminded me of that one what was it called? Me.
Oh yeah.
Remember when there were like people were like arguing on the internet like what the meaning was behind that music video?
Yeah.
I kind of got that feeling when you're talking about that as well when they went back to the live action shot of Akane.
Yeah, and thank God there wasn't any cum being poured into Akane's mouth by one of her toys. Oh my God, that video.
That video, man.
Oh,
so much controversy in more ways than one.
Right? Not only was it fucking sick, but it was like, wait, what is it trying to say? Well, I think you're wrong. But anyway, yeah. Overall, I highly recommend this show. Especially if you're a fan if you're like my friend Daniel who grew up with Superhuman Samurai, it'll be funny to kind of see what the original show was like.
Stop talking in the first person, it's not healthy.
He's real, damn it! But yeah, that's about it for what I think about the show. We just gotta wait for Lewis's thoughts in a bit.
Oh, you want your thoughts? Okay. So for me, pretty much for me thinking about the show, going back into the show and everything, thank you, Daniel.
Yeah. Daniel, right?
It's okay, Danny. I'll help you through your imaginary friend crisis.
Okay, so what were you saying?
So yeah, going back into the show and everything, just thinking about fuck, I got this wrong. Thinking about like going back to like what was going on throughout the whole show and everything. Since the beginning of the show, I knew it was something that I was gonna be into a lot because again, I'm into a lot of mechas and kaiju fights and everything. Seeing like the fighting sequence and all that stuff, like brought back so many good childhood memories.
Yeah.
And really like just seeing the fights and everything like that as well, especially like as it started to unfold, as the plot started to unfold, no ways than one.
Right. Literally in some cases.
Yep. Like just seeing the plot unfold and everything, I was trying to see there was more to this story than just like it was gonna be like what's today's kaiju fight or something like that. Choked myself right there. Guys, I'm trying to tie a tie without looking in the mirror. This is difficult because I have no idea where my hands are. I'll do this later. But seeing the whole farm, seeing as how like there's more to the story, like and then even like how it was like giving throwbacks to the original series and like the again. Unless Danny told me about the what was it called again?
Oh, Superhuman Samurai?
Superhuman Samurai series, I would have never guessed what that reference was at all. Because when I saw them reading down, I was like, I wonder what that was for.
Yeah.
And I really love it when shows do that when they like do throwbacks to like whatever series they were from originally.
Yeah.
So for me, that was definitely pretty fun to like get to know about it. And again, the show really makes you do a little bit more research about like where its origins come from and like why it references or like why it does things a certain way as well. Mm-hmm. Which again, I did not realize that it was actually rated like 7.5 in my anime list. I thought it would have been an 8 at the very least, a solid 8 or an 8.5.
Right. I'm gonna probably check what's up with that later, and probably by whatever episode we're gonna do after, like I'll probably be like, well, I think this is what. According to the reviews, this is what people had an issue with, but yeah, it was interesting to see the show kind of that low for anime standards.
No, yeah. And just if anything as well, just going, but other than that, like the whole show for me, just like watching like all the like not only like the kaiju creations because like the kaiju fights were pretty enticing, not gonna lie. I really love the kaiju fights as well.
Yeah.
But like also seeing what was going like person to person as well, just seeing like seeing Akane slowly going and getting more and more desperate as she's losing grip with her world. And then if anything, to end with like one of my favorite type of endings ever, with an existential type of question where like, is this bad for you? Or anything like that. And if anything, I think that might be more like where you're trying to get at, Danny, whenever like shows or any type of videos try to poke at otaku culture. is that people immediately think whenever they see that type of ending, it's like, oh, so you're saying it's like a bad thing or it's a bad influence.
Yeah, are you attacking me directly? Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if anything, you've got to realize that
Sorry, my phone's about to die.
no, go for it.
Uh-huh.
And for me, it's like when I see those type of endings, like I don't think that I see that as the case of anything, because whenever I see these endings, and again, it's all up to interpretation. So like anybody can like voice it in whatever way. This is just my single opinion in a sea of like millions of other opinions. But this is what I thought when I saw the ending, because going back into what you're saying, like you know how she used like like this type of genre or anime as like a way of escapism.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing this, I was like thinking, like, you know what? I feel if anything, when we think of imagining this world, if anything, it's just her way of maybe like coping with her reality or like just trying to find comfort in something that she like she loves or anything.
Yeah.
As well, and I'm like thinking it's like not necessarily a bad thing, but rather it's just one of many ways people deal with like with their everyday problems and everything as well. Which is why I like psychology.
Yeah.
Because I get to listen to people's problems.
Oh yeah, this is an anime that kind of needs a psychological
psychological analysis.
Yes, a psychological analysis.
Yeah, and if anything as well, I think like the message to that, if anything, when it comes to this, like just because somebody says your hobby is like bad or anything, it's like doesn't well, take it with a grain of salt because it might just be an obsession with you of anything. But if it's like a healthy hobby or something like that, it's nothing to be ashamed of, if anything, because it's what helps you get through the day. And again, it's like something that helps you get through to the end of the day. You use it to like relax and everything as well, and then at the end of the time as well, it's kind of like become a part of your personality as well, kind of like with Akane.
Yeah.
And like how you mentioned, Danny, is like girls who are into like tonketsu or any type of things as well. The reason why they're rare is because oftentimes they're usually bashed for it. Like they're saying like, oh, you're just being a hipster for following that type of genre.
Yeah, or you're a boy for liking this.
Yeah. So like for Akane, if anything, it's like props to her for having the confidence in liking this genre, and more importantly for serving this lesson, if anything, as well.
Yeah. And Alexis could have also served as like her bad side. Like Rika could have been like her conscience, while Alexis could have served more as her like irrationality, because it really did look like Alexis wanted to take her down into a hole while Rika was trying to pull her out of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
God damn it. See, I just thought of that right now. This anime has its grips in me.
But yeah, for me, that's honestly my opinion about Gridman. I really think it's underrated.
Oh yeah.
It's really underrated for what it was worth.
Yeah. It's a fucking sugar show and it's underrated. What the hell?
That surprises me. Whereas I thought like Darling in the Franxx was like got too crazy.
Oh, it got too popular too fast. So when the last 3 episodes happened, I'm like, I knew this was gonna happen. We were calling it anime of the year way too damn fast.
Right. And then so if anything, aside from like all the crazier works that Trigger has worked on, I feel like this one, if anything, was one of the more tame and
I know, right?
one of the more tame and probably giving you like a little bit one of those like lifelong lessons, if anything.
Yeah. With something that I think will always be like the top 10 unsolved anime mysteries, which is like what was really going on in the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Imagine if that ending was just hinting at a live action.
Oh my god, that would be funny. But I was even thinking like, so Akane in the show is super beautiful. And they didn't show us the actress who was playing the live Akane. So I'm like, I wonder if she was supposed to be like nerdy or not pretty for the standards that she thinks she is. Like, I'm just like, if they showed us and she was just like a glasses girl, I'm like, oh, so she's supposed to be nerdy. Quotey fingers.
Fingers. And then, you know what would have been interesting though? If they showed her like, because you know how anime and everything, like it would translate way differently if you showed them in the live action and everything.
Yeah.
I would have been curious to see like what her like real world counterpart would have looked like.
Yeah. See, I was really curious whether it was gonna be like a pretty girl who just didn't have the confidence, or if it was like a plain looking girl. Again, we didn't really see the body. Was she kind of up there?
I know. So like there's a lot of different things that goes into it as well, because again, anime is different from reality.
Yep. So we have no idea what was really going on here. But again, it's really fun to talk about. And again, this was our final thought, and it just turned into more discussing that ending.
Yeah, pretty much.
So anything else to add?
I think that's pretty much it. Other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed the show, and if anything, like I wouldn't mind watching the show again. To be honest,
Yep.
just like with a more alert mind. Now that I'm not gonna binge it.
Now that I know it's dubbed, I think I'm probably gonna watch it.
I just wish someone does the abridged series with like that MS Paint opening.
Oh my god, yes.
One more time for the ending.
Yeah, oh no. Rich, by the way, have you thought about what you wanted to do next?
Next week?
Yeah.
Since we're going into things like this, like this and everything, and then what can I think of that I really like watching right now? Right now, the thing that comes into mind is like, ooh, let's go controversial. Let's do Goblin Slayer.
Is it over?
Yeah, it's been over.
Oh.
It's only 12 episodes.
Oh, if you want, then it's completely up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down.
Okay, so it looks like due to the request of Lewis, we'll be doing Goblin Slayer. Oh god, you want to talk about controversial stuff? Oh god, and they're just like they're just stretching the image when they do that. Oh god, why?
Full screen.
Oh god.
But yeah, and if anything as well, because I didn't really watch as many shows this winter. So, because other than that, if anything, other than Goblin Slayer, like one of the Death Notes. And then Thomas the Engine!
Like, I love the wind effects, it's just them shaking the image. Oh, look at Iris face. Oh, and I just realized they showed the lolly in it just to look like her. Ava. I love how we were trying to talk over this. It's crazy. I gotta buy a capture card. That's gonna be my next thing. I'm gonna buy a capture card so I can start implementing stuff like this. Okay.
But yeah, if you want, you can just start making the announcements for next week. Mostly you're gonna be doing Goblin Slayer, unless, of course, I find a show that I really want to binge this week.
Alright.
Because, if anything, I want to talk about Goblin Slayer and Valentine's Day.
Oh god. Why?
Because controversy. We must up a controversy with another controversy.
Oh.
And also because that's also going to be the only week where I'm going to be not that busy. I'm going to be my busiest.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to need to do a show that I know I've already watched.
Oh, alright. Yeah, so just let me know then if there's something else you want to think about.
So yeah, so for now, Goblin Slayer placeholder.
Yeah, God, this would be so much easier if Ben would fucking answer my text messages. He could have taken this one, but yeah, but yeah, okay. So it looks like Goblin Slayer. Oh boy, we're jumping into the frying pan and into the fire on this one, because apparently this show was kind of controversial given the ratings, so people do have a problem with it on some aspect.
Yeah.
But we're going into a show where people just forgot that rape was a thing in anime. Oh my god.
I mean, apparently people were okay with it in Sao.
Or freaking Feature Diary where there was an actual gangbang.
Yes, dude, that was the saddest one with Marco. I was so sad with that one.
Oh my god. Anyway, I'm Danny.
I'm a Squatcha.
And we'll see you next week.